I have a B Pro background on. B Pro reppin'. My VIPs and Cryptillions had a lot of questions today, so I was not able to get here on time. I'm almost situated, and we'll be getting going here in about 30 seconds or so. All right, I think I'm ready. Here we go. Sound check 1, 2, 3. All right. Whew. Oh, you can see my kids' drawings behind there. I'm wearing pants. All right. Well, finally got some action. And what do I want to cover today on Bitcoin? There's so much to talk about. Okay. Here's how we're going to roll. All right. My last Bitcoin video, which was made during my last stream, I went over 3 fractals, and the headline or the thumbnail was, "This bounce could be bigger than you're expecting," right? And I gave you the top 4 ways. These are only 3 here. I gave you the top 4 ways in general that price interacts with my magic origin lines, which seem to be relatively, for my channel size, catching fire, because I made a video with price candles, I think 2 days candles bouncing on them, and ever since then I'm getting a lot of questions about it, because obviously it showed that these work very magically, right? They're a big deal. It's not that other people are trading off of this and looking at it. It just, I don't know, it represents what algorithms and mass psychology are doing. I don't know why they work, but they work, and they set specific rules on Bitcoin. Specific rules. It's if this, then you only have 3 options, right? And then you could look back in time and decide, hey, well, since the first part of that if was a little bit down, then I think it's more likely that out of the 3, it's probably going to be this one. So we just deduced probabilities, all because of how this buyback over here, it bounced strongly off of this origin line, and we'll zoom in to show all of my rationale behind that. I will stay on the daily candle, yeah. So the first day that this all dropped, see that wick? I said, because of this wick, and it closed up here, the most likely, how did I phrase it? The most likely fractal, or the most likely outcome is Bitcoin will not continue accelerating to the downside. Specifically, not accelerating to the downside, right? I didn't say it wouldn't go lower, but it would not accelerate. Acceleration implies you hit the next origin line down. It did not. It did not accelerate down. It made less aggressive. It started going down more slowly and more slowly. The most accelerated move was here. Then everything else was just a weak lower low, right? However, during this time, if you look at it, on small candles, it looked like I was going to be flat wrong. It really did. And honestly, I kind of thought I was going to be too. I still could be. But it's unlikely. So that, and when I say wrong, that just means one of my top 2 most probable choices don't play out. Okay. So my top thing was, because of this wick, it's not going to accelerate down, which is one of the 4 just things in general that happens at origin lines. It happens a lot, but you can tell as it's happening. It just doesn't bounce there, it keeps going down, and we didn't see that happen. Therefore, it's not even an option. But then after this happened, I was like, oh shit, is it gonna do something different? And I was like, it kind of looked like it, but it didn't. It did not accelerate. See, this was the big move. Accelerate. Slower move, moderate move, small move, higher low. Did not accelerate down. Okay? And I bet I have some people on here, or people watching this, not on the stream, the recorded portion, who saw that video and during this time was like, he's wrong. He's wrong, right? Well, it looked like it, but not so much. What we're going to do in this video is the micro timeframes, or I would say small and midterm timeframes. Small timeframes are going to dominate everything right now. It will, because it's all about, I promise you, it's all about how price interacts with this. This is going to be by far, it's going to be a better signaler than any indicator you could ever dream of, anything, until price separates from this line. These lines are more macro than anything that you can imagine, because it goes to the origin of price, origin lines. There's nothing more macro, right? Super Troopers, sir, could you pull over? I'm already pulled over. I can't pull over any farther, right? You can't get any more macro. It's already too macro. So what we're going to do here is we're going to figure out of the 4, the only 4 ways that price can move at these lines, one's already out, which I predicted it was out there anyway, even though it looked like it was going to pop back in, but it's not. So it's out. It's out for the count. It's not an option because it did not continue accelerating in the first 2 days. We're going to figure out in this video, do I still have the same order of most likely, second most likely, third most likely? Or should I adjust them? Or are we in that awkward window where each of them has about equal probability of playing out? And before I start this video, I'll let you know, I actually don't know. I just know I just know that it looked like I was going to be wrong, that the 4th most likely one was going to happen, which would mean I'm wrong. But then it popped back in, popped back up as expected. So let's go into this, and you're going to watch me try to deduce, just from a logical standpoint, deduce things out of the way until I'm left with enough clean slate so I can clearly determine what are the probabilities of each of these fractals, which I do have prepared, and which is the most likely. Is there anything more likely, and what can we do about it? Are you ready? Let's get it. I am going to go to the 4-hour chart, I think. Yes. Okay. As we get into this part with the origin lines, just realize that fractals are for guidance. What's a good analogy? I can usually think of analogies without even thinking. They just pop into my head. I can't think of one right now. It's similar to if you know somebody's going to hand you an object and your only clue is that it's rectangular in shape. It could be a big, and skinny box without much depth, right? I guess that's a 3-dimensional. No, let's keep things 2-dimensional. They're gonna hand you a rectangular object regardless of the 3rd dimension depth, okay? So let's think in 2 dimensions. Even though one rectangle could be as big as your house, right? But the idea is the person's going to hand you an object that's rectangular, so it can't be that big, even though that would still be a rectangle. So you know within reason, okay, it's a rectangle, it will be a rectangle, but I don't know exactly what size, but I do know that it will be a rectangle. Does that make sense? That's what these are for. It's not going to mean that's exactly how price is going to move. You just know, here's a rectangle, here's a triangle, here's a square. Doesn't mean they'll have to be the same size, but I know roughly what I'm looking out for. Okay? That's how to use these. That was an okay analogy. I'm usually better at thinking of analogies really quickly. All right. So I think in my last video, I used a different fractal to show you that this could be a larger bounce than what you're expecting, right? All because of the first buyback off the origin line. But it's still the same idea because the rectangle stuff. So if anybody is like an eagle eye person, hey, that's not the same one on top. Well, the orange one and the blue one, they're different colors now, I think, but they are the same. And then I found a different one here. Okay, so take a look at this. In each case, all of these, or let's say, here, let's go like this. Anytime that you have a strong buyback, can you even see this? Right here. Anytime that you have a strong buyback like this off of the origin line, I'm on the 5-minute chart. Instantly, you know that you can, out of the 4 options, get rid of the one that it goes straight down. Okay? How it behaves on its next attempt to touch this will help you determine, with the 3 that are left, what are the probabilities. So because it came all the way back down, I think that my first guess, I might have to move it to number 2 because of this. So let me throw on the green fractal, which was which represents what was previously my first guess, my number 1 most likely scenario. I thought it was going to do something like this. And you can see at the end, you got that last wick up to get all the late shorters, recent shorters out, high leverage before you went down, right? But you can also see here, let me make this is too dark. There we go. You can also see, let's take off price. Boom. You can also see it wicked below strong buyback. So that's where that one is. And look at price. 3% difference, that's okay. But it wicked below and immediately found support on top and did not go below again for days and days and days, right? Let's measure that out. 12 days. We did not get that this time. Here, it broke, so 4-hour candles, it started breaking down below here. Therefore, even though this is still a strong contender, something, just a general rectangle, doesn't have to be exactly this, to the candle to candle, but in general, a strong buyback, the move goes higher than you think when you're expecting capitulation. It could go to 21K again, is what I'm saying. And that is why I made that thumbnail, my last thumbnail, the way I did. That was not for clickbait, even though it probably served as clickbait, but it was statistically likely. And I know everybody's out there trying to make money off shorts, or a lot of people are, right? Or at least that day. And that was my way of trying to give a compelling reasoning. No, you're going to get a bounce here. You're likely to get a strong bounce. Okay? Since then, it's behaved a little differently. I'm going to put this one at number 2 for now, I think, but still, it's the second most likely scenario to happen. Something that smells like this. It's not the same thing, but it smells the same, right? Like a husband and a dog smell pretty similar, right? Okay. Price back on. Now, here, this fractal is pretty similar. So here, it did come back down below rather immediately. Boom, buyback. Next day, boom, went below again. And how did that one behave on the origin line? So this one is essentially your shade of gray between blue and green. Maybe this one should be red. It hovers and it essentially is saddling. Like this is a horse, right? So all we're doing right now is we are concentrating on how price behaves at the origin lines, especially during large moves, which could be the end. Or it could mean it's gonna hit the next one down, which is what I still think. But, oh no, I forgot one. There are 5 ways. The 5th way is that's the bottom. So I took away 2. Oh, no, I didn't take away that one. I think I had that one as my 3rd most likely scenario at that time. I think the bottom was the 3rd most likely. But there are 5 total. Let's just remove 2, okay? Technically could have been the bottom, but I'm getting ready to show you why that's not going to happen. Very likely not going to happen. Okay. So this is a horse. It's saddling it like a horse rider, both sides. But still, if you're trying to short after this big wick down, which is what we just got, you're getting smashed. That's 20% higher. And look at the price on this guy or gal. Not only does it hit 19K, it hits it again before then coming down and not giving you a second chance to short the, this one was hard to play. It didn't give you a second chance to short a rejection of the origin line. This one would have been really tough to play. I would have missed out. Like right here, I would have expected one more wick up, which is totally more normal than anything. So let's hope this doesn't happen because this would be a lot harder to play. Unless you shorted the breakdown of the punch low here at, yeah, so right here, exactly, accelerate at that candle. You would have a second chance there, but not up higher. This one might, something to this effect might be the most likely at this point. Still 19K. Remember those numbers. 19, just remember 19K and how this fractal worked. The next one, and the last one we're gonna look at, is one that gets, where is it? You also get a strong buyback, but the strong buyback did not get price. So it is a little different though. On all of these that have happened in Bitcoin, and again, this is not just at bottom. So this, there are lots of origin lines. So this type of, there are lots of samples. There's a big sample size of this. In this red fractal, the key thing to keep in mind is where the original wick and buyback were, it's not at the origin line. It happened later and then recovered. The original, like the very first strong buyback. But our first buyback was at the origin line almost to the dollar because origin lines are fucking badass, right? I get one F word a week on this channel. So for anybody who might be newer to my show, have kids around, I don't say it very often. Hell, during my stream, I had like 3 kids in my room, in my office. No way. All right. Therefore, so this one I call trapped under, tank later, right? That's a great name, right? Or just, you get trapped under. I don't think this is the most likely because of what I just said. The original buyback was lower. It did not happen at the origin line. So I'm going to keep this one, or put this one at number 3 for now. Does all my logic on why make sense? All right. Let me make sure y'all aren't saying you can't hear me or something. Okay, good. All right, we're all good there. Maybe I'll turn down the volume. There we go. All right, so now let's take a look one more time now that we've got the logic out of the way. Actually, yeah, this one did get bought back at that. Yes, it did. Okay, so here, the original buyback is at the origin line. Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought it went higher than 21K. Yes, this went to 22. But now that we went back below, I don't think 22 is likely anymore because it did not bounce hard off this to then days and days later, then make your second pass at the origin line 16 days later. Therefore, 22K is not likely. Whatever bounce we're gonna get, it's gonna be extraordinarily likely that it's significantly less than that. But just remember, it's possible, okay? Third most likely? Maybe this is the third most likely. I might have a tie for second. Yeah, I'm gonna make you know what? I'm gonna make the orange one my favorite. Something that smells like this. I think the horse rider is gonna be my favorite option. I think I'm gonna backtrack on this. I don't think 22K is my favorite option. Yeah, so I'm gonna put this at number 3. I'm moving my previous number 1 because of this wick, right? Let me zoom in. The first wick that hit right here at that exact moment, I was correct to say the following. It's statistically more likely to follow this fractal at this exact moment. Probabilities are fluid. I'm not trying to talk about gender. I'm not going with that. But they're fluid. So the probabilities have now changed. I'm going to put that at number 3. Yep, this is number 3 now. Okay, but it is still a top 3 most likely. So 22K could happen, but I don't know. It's the third most likely. Here, since the original buyback, yeah, I do have an order now. This is number 2. The reason why this one's number 2 is because the original buyback was below the origin line. Therefore, and even in this case, you know, you can still get moves up to almost 19K, right? But in general, you use this as pure resistance. Pure resistance. And this one, the green one, is pure support until you break down. So you have pure resistance, pure support. So support, 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 and then you break down, right? Pure resistance, pure support, and then the mama bear porridge somewhere in the middle. And because the original wick, this guy right here, this buyback, was so aggressive right at it, and then it went down, which is kind of weird, then I'm going to guess the weird one is the one that's going to play out. But still, in that case, you're going to hit let's see here. How did I have this? Right. How did it go? It went like... So that would still be 19 and change. Okay? Now, let's dive in on the smaller time frames. Now that we have those out of the way, I'm going to go to the 15-minute time frame, what I've been running on my live chart all day. Which, by the way, I typically only do that on the weekends, Friday night through Sunday night, for free YouTube, public. I'm doing it now because we've been waiting 145 days for something to happen. So I'm just going to give it to everybody for a week or, days or whatever. Don't quote me, but just for a little bit. So if you have been somebody who's been enjoying that chart in the future, to have it Monday through Friday, you will need to join the Cryptillion YouTube tier or any Discord tier to have that Monday through Friday when I make it available. Does that sound good? But right now it's free on the you don't need to do anything. I'll keep it on there for a while. All right. And speaking of all that, the links to the Discord community are in the description sections of all my non-stream, non-live videos. And then Twitter, you really should be following me on Twitter. I'm posting some stuff that is that literally nobody else has really charted, such as I think the stock market will go sideways for an entire decade. It will not make an aggressive higher high for over 10 years or longer. for example, and I show you why on Twitter. And then should I hit this joint? No, it says, should I hit join? That's the YouTube tiers. On my non-streamed videos, it might be below here, but on just my normal videos, it's right next to the subscribe button. If you hit join, then your money is instantly taken for the month. So just hit it. No, when you hit join, a video pops up describing with skeletons and pirates what it includes and how it's different than Discord. Okay, so let's get back to business. I'm gonna throw on my live chart now that I've been streaming today, and I will continue to after all this is said and done tonight. So when will that stream? It'll be a new stream link. It'll be up around, I don't know, 9 p.m. or something, New York time. No, that's this. I don't want to show you all that. That's too much goods. We essentially identified where Bitcoin's top will likely be next run. But anyway, okay. So remember what I was saying? Remember that number? Oh, wrong way. What's over here? Both of these are on, or these lines are on both sides of the number I told you to remember from those fractals, right? But I'm coming to these lines from a micro time frame standpoint, but they align with midterm stuff. So in order to better determine which one will play out, it's all about the small term time frames. I cannot stress this enough. Like, you don't always want to focus on the small term, but in moments where just drastically different things could happen, different scenarios, and you identify what they are, you have to pinpoint the thresholds on when your probabilities change on which one's going to play out, right? Therefore, that requires the small time frames. And when the small time frames align with those same thresholds, then you're perfect. All you need to look at are the small time frames because you already identified what can happen on the midterm and larger time frames. So therefore, your thresholds are set. Zoom in. Even on the 1 minute chart, screw it. Right? That's what we're doing. Am I making sense? Like, I really hope that I'm making sense. Okay, so the micro term time frames are as follows. Whenever you have okay, so this blue line's the origin line, right? All right. Whenever you get a W shape looking, which is honestly by far the most common way to do bottoms, right? So the way that drops usually have, or they usually entail, or man, if I could speak English, how they usually happen. How they go down. It usually goes down. Yeah, that's a good way. This is how shit goes down. You typically have so the reason why W's happen, okay, actually here, I'm gonna blow your mind. This is outside of, so this is applicable to Solana and FTT. Even though Solana is probably gonna make it, but anyway, for anything, the price of anything, the price of Apple, Amazon, doesn't matter, right? But I think it happens a little bit more in crypto. But for any crypto, what I'm about to say is good. Like, listen. The reason why W's happen quite a bit is because Bitcoin moves down in waves of 3. And then on that third wave, you then get your higher low. And it forms a W, or an inverse head and shoulders. But it's because Bitcoin moves in waves of 3, right? As more and more buyers start defending stuff. 1, 2, 3, higher low. It just makes W's. That's how shit goes down. Okay? Is it always waves of 3? No. But among all the ways price moves down, it's by far the most likely. Is it over 50% likely for any drop? I don't even know if I would go that far. But maybe it's like 40% likely, and no other one general way is more than 40%. Does that make sense? So the most common, but not probable in and of itself. There's a difference. All right. Now, when that stuff happens, because it happens a ton, you look left. Yeah, you think of two things. After you realize it's waves of three, that's what forms the inverse head and shoulders. The second thought process is you look left to set your horizontals. I usually look for the second and third local high looking left. That's where it always goes. Almost every time. Now that rule is way over 40%. And that could happen on a 1 minute time frame, right? Like within a small daily candle, right? And on this chart, it's happening on the 15, maybe, between the, small time frames up to, that's sort of even up to the hour, roughly. It starts breaking down at the hour, right? So I'm on the 15-minute time frame. But this can happen on any time frame. All right. So you look left and you count, you go to the second and third most recent local highs. So from the bottom, look left, that's 1. I'm going to mix these together for number 2. If this is too close, this is number 2. This is number 3. Horizontal here. And so since these are pretty close too, you might make a box for each. So for example, since this high and this high are kind of close, I would make a box starting from here, ending there, and drag it sideways like this. Okay? And then here, I would make a box from here to here, since I'm kind of I'm counting this as one local high. All from there to there. And I'm telling you, this is where it's almost every single time. When you see this shape, you literally look back 2 local highs, and that's your target every single time. All right. And that could be from where it blasts off, and sometimes that's from where it breaks down. And other times, that's where it starts fucking going sideways and not doing anything for 100 days. But it's an area of interest, and from the lows, that's where it's going. After you get this higher low established, right? Okay. The third thing to think of, so there are 3 things to think of, and then I'll tie this back to the micro time frames dominating what's going to happen next, because we already know what's happening on the larger time frames, or what our options are. The third thing to think about is, let's see here, how should I say this? I don't know if there's one way to say this. How your mindset should be from a time axis. What timing should I expect? So you know, if you've clicked around with your money and done futures trading or even spot trading, you sometimes find yourself waiting for freaking ever for something to do what you had planned to do. And then right when you bail out, or like you just give up because you go chase something else, then it goes. Like, you've been there, especially during a bull market, right? You're waiting for this one's got to go up. And I've been holding on this for 2 months. And then right when you go sell it for something else, then it takes off. Like, oh gosh, you know what I'm talking about. But in that line of thinking, the missing element that got a person trapped in that situation is because you did not appropriately format. Is that the right word? You did not appropriate format your brain to the time axis, your expectations on when this will happen. And on these patterns, it's so simple. Look. Okay, so price action is beautiful, right? As we all know, like that's why we're here, because we're only here because looking at price is beautiful, right? And symmetry is beautiful. I'm just saying it like this so you remember it. So the timing on when we can expect something to happen is actually kind of soon. Around tonight's closure. So shit might start moving tonight. And it could go either way because it's flirting with this line. So these shapes often break down. And in a bear market, it might be more than 50%. In a bull market, it's not. After you establish higher lows and higher highs, it's in a bull market, it's like 70, 80% chance to go up. That's why longing higher lows in a bull market is just the way to go. Especially if you see the shape. And now you understand the timing on when. So bulls and bears are going to try to finalize what's going to happen between tonight and tomorrow. Price will resolve itself with a very high likelihood between tonight and, let's say, by U.S. traditional markets closure, which is around, it's about 4:20 p.m. New York time. So around 8:30 London, 9:30 Berlin. That's about the latest that this will have to make up its mind because of the symmetry. It's just the way it plays out. Could it keep going sideways? Maybe, but it's going to do something different. And so now that we know when to expect this, how can we tell which way it's going to go? So right now, can't really tell. If I had to guess, I would guess up, at least to hit this box. But around that time, if you go to the micro time frames and you've done this origin line, it's simple. If it has not gone below this, then it's more likely to go up. If you say to yourself, hey, it hasn't gone below, and the symmetry has been met, therefore it's more likely to go up. Yeah, you're right. But the probabilities are fluid. Once you go back below, it's instantly more probable that it's going to go down. Even though just 10 seconds ago, it was more probable it was going to go up. Does that make sense? Probabilities can flip in an instant when you have identified where they flip. This is the line. It's your 50-50 line. So your probabilities can flip 20 times in, let's say 4 hours. It's probably not that many times, like 3 or 4 times. Because price on the 5-minute candles could go like this. And it might leave you like in suspense forever. Like, it's more probable to go down. Now it's more probable to go up, right? Maybe switch your positions, this and like, what is it? I'm just paying fees. Like, Costas Verdes is screwing me up, right? But that is possible. And this is the only thing you need. Above it, more likely to go up. Below it, more likely to go down. However, when your probabilities flood your direction is when, it looks similar, but it's on opposite sides. So that is just when you become more likely. That means 51% or more, right? But when your probabilities flood more heavily in your favor, as in it's a tradable edge. So 51%, I guess it's technically a tradable edge with the correct risk management. It'd take a lot to calculate. Like, you'd have to really, really buckle down your risk management trading like that. But it's nicer to trade with better probabilities. So when do those probabilities flood? Well, easily. Look at that wick. When price goes below that wick, you have a very tradable edge to the downside. That's it. That's way better than 51% chance. When do your probabilities flood to the upside? Easy. Same type of idea. When you get back above 17,950. Because that's when it's going to bust up. Because sellers will stop defending this line. And a lot of those sellers will become buyers. And it'll instantly, it might skyrocket it might go straight to 18.7. And that's it. If I can add and make an honorable mention to the psychology of this, bottom shape, not a macro bottom shape, but just micro bottoms and all that stuff, right? Tradable bottoms. It didn't apply very well in this case on Bitcoin, but a lot of times you have an even better probability of guessing, or a better, chance, you have better probabilities with your guesses on where it's going to go, because a wick, for example, like from this part of the move, I don't know if you can see these candles very well here. Let me get a 15-minute candles. They're a little wider. Can you see this okay? So a lot of times this move down is a little bit more aggressive, and it wicks like this, then comes up and does everything the same, right? But the wick is exactly what makes seller step in here to form that. So you'll usually see a wick to this side exactly at the second and sometimes there's on both of them. Sometimes you have two wicks down farther left before the W was really taking shape, right? Because it was moving sideways here. It hadn't had an aggressive move. Usually it's waves of three. The aggressive one's the first wave, like by default. That's when it starts. But it doesn't mean you can't get a wick. And honestly, it's a lot of them. You'll see a wick both at the third local high to the left and the second local high to the left. This one's bare naked. You don't have either. It's kind of weird, but they usually align. So if you're gonna try to remember what I'm saying here, I gave you three things to think about. It applies to the price of anything, including oil and black market testicles. So this is a good one to remember, okay? Bull markets, bear markets, dead coins, Bitcoin, whatever, buttcoin, titty coin, everything. And just realize this example did not have wicks, and they typically are more prominent, and they align with the second and third, with the first concept I mentioned, the second concept I mentioned, which was second and third higher local highs to the left. And did I tie this back to the fractals? Oh yeah. So now, okay, I didn't actually. Okay, so now that we know how to view things on all time frames and on the time axis, right? Up and down, sideways, and the fourth dimension, which is time. Now we know that this very line, looking at it on the micro time frames, now I got to go to the 4-hour chart, is going to give us a better idea at any snapshot in time which one of these is going to happen, because how it interacts with that origin line, because it's your 50-50 line. And for newer people, my origin lines are slanted up. They are ascending lines. So it's not a horizontal. So just because you saw a price point at one area, 2 days later, it's like $10 higher or something. Let's see. Let's do 5 every 7 days. How much does it increase? Rise over run. $300 a week. That's the slope. All right. And now I think in this video, in my previous videos where I keep saying, hey, low time frames are going to dominate, I think I finally explained it and allowed us all to visualize it better. Because no matter where price is on that origin line, I keep pointing the wrong way. No matter where, I'm usually on the other side. Yeah, there we go. No matter where price is on that origin line, at that exact moment, if it's above at that snapshot, it's more probable to to go up. So therefore, orange might be more likely. Or actually, green is still kind of a contender as well. So if it's above the origin line, then maybe at those moments, the number 2 most likely is the bigger move up, closer to 21K. But when it goes below, this is the third most likely. You can forget about it. Actually, when in snapshot of time, if it's above, then these are the top contenders. And when it's below, these are the top contenders at any snapshot in time. And the top contenders, because price is next to the origin line, the probabilities can flip literally 4 times in a day. Okay? And until you get the resolution from that wick low or that, what was the level I gave you? 18.7 something from that local high, right? Said the blue box, once it goes above, that's when your probabilities flood. So between those 2 points, your probabilities are fluid. But once you break those 2 points, then it's extremely tradable in that direction. And that is how to interpret price. Make sense? All right, let's move on to Ethereum. Whew. Okay. Give me a quick second here. And again, so for anybody new, I skip people's questions because I'm extraordinarily rude. No, I'm just kidding. I skip them not because I'm rude, but because I only have time, and I actually don't even have enough time usually, but I only can answer questions from a time perspective, or because of time restraints, the folks who are YouTube tier members. So typically my Discord members, I know there are a few of you who are both on Discord and YouTube tiers because you want to, yeah, I see a lot of you, several of you, but my YouTube tier members, they ask questions and I can barely get through their questions. Therefore, I'm not going to answer even address anybody's question who's not a YouTube tier member, right? So please remember that when I skip your question for non-tier members. Sometimes I'll get a really good question that's not from a tier member, and I think everybody will benefit from that drastically more than the other questions, and I will answer those sometimes. So if you're not a tier member, and what is it, like $3 a month is too much to do, I get it. That's fine. You have to ask a really good question though. A really good one. Last stream there were 2 good questions, and I took the time to answer 2 from non-community members. So that's my spiel on that when I start going over questions here after I do Ethereum. All right, it's nighttime. I'm not drinking Monster. It's water in here. I just like these cans. I like drinking water out of metal and glass. I just don't like drinking out of plastic. Not because I'm weird. Well, not because I have thoughts that plastic's gonna hurt me, but I don't know. I just prefer it. So I don't think I'm some weirdo drinking Monster at night. Okay, Ethereum. Here we go. Ethereum chart's getting really pretty. I'm gonna go to the 15-minute chart. We're gonna take a look at Ethereum. It's behaving just like Bitcoin. At the end of this portion of the live stream or this recorded video, I'm going to add something that will help you calibrate your own TA. Yeah, it'll be a calibration for your own TA, but you have to stick around to the end to see it because I won't tag it. So here we go. Let's go get some Ethereum price. Oh, I put myself on the top right. I don't like being over here. I keep pointing the wrong direction. There we go. Okay. A while back, I drew this triangle, obviously on a larger time frame. Yeah. So, actually, let's just get rid of all this. I can just redo it. those are bottom targets. All right. So before Ethereum price went in this triangle, I had the thought that before I realized, hey, this is like capitulation type of fall. So I drew this black triangle saying, hey, if it drops down here and touches the origin line, not knowing at that time FTX and all that stuff was going to happen, right? Which is why some of my analyses were off last week, because it was news-driven stuff. You can't analyze news-driven stuff on the small time frames. On large time frames, you can, right? Just like me saying Solana has to hit $12 to $22 back in 2021. It might have been January, February 2022. I don't know. Anyway, I drew this triangle over here, anticipating before I knew the FTX stuff was going to happen. If it hit here, it could easily get trapped inside. This blue line is an origin line. This green area, which I'll put price tags on this soon. So if you want to do, if you're going to be wise, and as an Ethereum fan, if you're trading it or dealing with it, you copy my lines, right? That would be a smart thing to do. I'm going to put the price labels on it so you can get it exact here in just a second. It's kind of a busy chart, so I want to clean it up as much as possible. Oh, this triangle got hit too. But my 1720 target never got hit. Anyway, so I thought that price could bounce here on a higher low basis, back a higher low to this, and then possibly continue going up, potentially going up. Now, price has flown through it. It is possible. While it is possible, this triangle's filled out, and that's when it falls back down and makes new lows. I don't think that's the most likely thing. So this triangle is here from last time before the news-driven events happened, okay? All right. Or news-driven price action happened. Now I'm going to go on the 15-minute chart. What did we just talk about on Bitcoin? Whenever you see 3 waves down on the price of anything, 1, 2, 3. Hallmark W, or what people call inverse head and shoulders. It just means that's your reversal for that time frame. Because you get, anyway, I've said that a lot. It just means you made a higher low next, right? But anyway, whenever you see the shape, what was the first, or was it the first or the second rule? What were the first 2 rules? Was one of them look back to the second and third local high, and that's where price will go directly to? Whether it's going to break up or break down, it still goes there almost every time. So bottom, look back 1. I'm not counting that. That's not a local high. Local high number 1, local high number 2. Local high number 3. So since these are so close, I would count them as 1. And I would do that by putting a box there, just like I did on Bitcoin. It's the same thing. From that to there, boom. That's where it's very likely going to go, if it can get above the second local high. Which I'm going to mix these 2 together to just do 1 box. All right, like down to the candle body. Yep, there you go. All right. And you can see that other people notice the same thing. It's just highs and lows, folks. Look. When folks trading this, which is actually mostly algorithms, but they're doing the same thing, and maybe you should too. They know that that is the key, or the first key area on this bottom formation. Let's go to the 1-minute chart. Watch. What did they do first? They came up to test it. So when bots are doing that, there are a lot, it's not just hitting price to hit price. But I'm just trying to show you that that rule works, what I just covered on Bitcoin. Like you can see it extremely clearly here. But when this type of stuff happens, yes, it is a test of a level, but what does that really mean? Well, a lot of times, since over 90% of all crypto trading volume is bots, it's non-human, not transaction in terms of using Bitcoin and Ethereum, but the trading, over 90% or more is non-human. But humans and bots alike, or particularly the bots, when they come up here, they're testing it, sure, to see how much sellers step in. But also, you have like spoof orders. So you might have like a wall here, right? Or a wall here. But what happens to those walls as price gets closer? They disappear. So I feel that, these tests from a bot perspective is more of a liquidity test, like checking your tire pressure. And that's why they call it, that might be why they call it a test. I don't know. It tested the line. But so that was like the test. Okay, did any spoof orders, like how did the sellers react, or did orders up here disappear? Because if they disappear, well, fuck, I know I can let this cool down, form another higher low or whatever, get it ready. Now that I'm ready to go, I want to put some futures buys down, future longs down here. Since I have $100 million of crypto, I know I can sell it on spot to bring it down 1.5%, right, on Ethereum. You don't even need $100 million of Ethereum to bring it down 1.5%. You sell it on spot down to your futures longs, and then all that shit you just sold, you use that to buy it back in more. Boom. And it doesn't matter if you lose money on that purchase from selling and buying. You're making a lot of money from this, right? And you have to do it with a lot of, so to get through here, it got through with a lot of momentum after having tested how did any spoof orders disappear, how do sellers react? Will sellers beat me down, or will they allow us to have a higher low? They did. So after all this, kind of still feeling the waters, okay, kablam. It had to get through with force. Had this test on the bots given different data, I don't think they would have had to hit it with that hard of a market buy. Does that make sense? But I think it was calculated how much they had to hit with market buy. I think that's what it was or at least to have data, to get more data points. But you could tell that rule works outside of everything I just said. Okay. All right. Now back to Ethereum price. It's really important to understand these formations. I guess I will repent a little bit about me hating on pattern traders. I just don't like the names and why and how people don't. I just feel that the way it's explained and seen, you don't actually understand what is happening, right? Kind of like me and my origin lines. So that's a great defense. I don't need to know I don't need to know why it's happening, right? I just need to know that it does, and I have a probability or something. But anyway, so I've hated on pattern traders a lot, and I'm talking about a pattern a lot here. It is really important because it's extraordinarily common. But I'm showing you the anatomy of it, which is I'm going into the whys about it. Okay, Ethereum price related to Bitcoin going up and testing 19K. Let's measure. That's 9%. How high would, wrong chart. Now we're gonna measure up on Bitcoin. Well, if Bitcoin comes up here, Ethereum's going to go. Actually, it depends. So here's the part that I was saving for last, your calibration. So we know that Bitcoin on the midterm timeframes, in 2 of 3 of the situations that will happen, right? We know it's going to be one of those 3 with an extremely high likelihood. So we'll just call it we know. We don't actually know, but we know, right? We know enough. Let's just call it we know. So we know that 2 of the 3 situations on Bitcoin will have it come up here on the midterm and macro time, or the midterm timeframes. So the micro timeframes are like, let's call it 66% likely to go here. How high will Ethereum go as these targets are hit? That's the last thing I wanted to show you on Ethereum, how to calibrate. So this is the key line for it's 6.5%. If at that moment, the Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart is going up, then Ethereum at that moment is going to go a higher percentage up, right? So we have a very important line on Ethereum at 14.15. So let's go see if Ethereum's going up versus Bitcoin. It's kind of it's making up its mind. It doesn't know. So it actually might depend. So if there is a no trend like there is now, well, yeah, there's a no trend right now. You have higher lows but a lower high. You might just have to look at that candle. If that's a green candle at that moment, then Ethereum, will on that way up, it's going to have a higher percentage, right? So the 2 percentages that Bitcoin has for targets is from current price. So you'd have to remeasure, from the moment you're doing this, right? But this is where price is it has a 66% chance of going or higher, right? So this or higher, 66% chance as of now. 6.5%, 10.2%. So in the moment that you start thinking about this, where is it? If I want to short Ethereum or whatever, because I know it's, out of the 3 midterm scenarios, 2 of the 3 will break down from here, right? So once you get here, the 2 out of 3s actually flip. 2 out of 3 will fall down from here, or will stay below, right? Only 1 of the 3 will go higher. But at this moment, you're dealing with the other 2, the middle one and the bullish one. So in the moment, you have 6.5 to 10, was it? From current price. Yep, 10.25. On Ethereum, does this line up here where I had my triangle make sense? So right now, Ethereum versus Bitcoin is flat. So if that were to stay the same, this line would be, it would have to be either 6.5% above current price or 10.25. So what this means is, as at the moment, so it's neither, but this is probably where it's going. It could go above it and use it as support, but just hear me out. And this is the exact level. And I told you I'd give you the levels, but I didn't. Here are the levels. So here's that. Oh, what am I doing? Here's the box. Here's the bottom of the box. Ooh, there's a wick there. I need to make this a little higher. I need to go like that. No, actually, I won't do that. So 14.15 is about 9%. So what this means is, if at the moment Bitcoin's charging up towards that lower yellow line, if Ethereum price Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart is green on that 1 hour candle or 15-minute candle, then Ethereum will be here as Bitcoin hits the lower of the 2. That makes sense, right? That's calibration for you. If Ethereum happens to be going down versus Bitcoin, you know that at the moment, so if it's a red 15-minute candle Ethereum versus BTC, as BTC's approaching its yellow line, you know that Ethereum will not get here as Bitcoin hits the first one. Therefore, if that first line on Bitcoin gets it right, and you're trying to take shorts on Ethereum, it ain't gonna make it. If it's going down versus Bitcoin on the Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart, Bitcoin would have to hit the top line, and that is when Ethereum would nail this on the head simultaneously, right? Inverse can also be true. If you're looking at price going, a Bitcoin charging up towards that line, which is your initiator, right? And it's a green candle on Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Let's call it 15-minute or 15-minute to 1 hour. It's somewhere, just pick one of those time frames, 15-minute, 30-minute, or 1 hour, pick one. Use that time frame. If it's green in that moment, as Bitcoin's making its charge up, then Ethereum's going to be here as Bitcoin hits the first line, not the second. And if Bitcoin goes to the second line, then you're not going to be able to short there successfully. You would have to look left. look for structure looking left. If at that time it's green and Bitcoin hits the top one, then Ethereum is going somewhere in this box. It will, under those conditions. Bitcoin is charging up towards the L lines. Ethereum versus Bitcoin is a green candle on the 15, 30, or 1 hour chart. And Bitcoin goes to the top yellow line. Ethereum will go here. If all those are true, you already know it will go there because that is how it works. But you don't know if it'll be a green candle. That's why you got to go look to calibrate. Does that make sense? So in the event, so if you're watching this Ethereum one, what I'm about to say, you will have had to have watched my Bitcoin portion, and it will be in the playlist of the most important videos I've ever made too, if you want to just go look at that. Once I get it uploaded for stream people on the stream. I forget what I was getting ready to say. And I'm stone sober, but decaffeinated. Son of a bitch. What the hell? Let me look at the Bitcoin chart. Maybe it'll come to me. Was I talking about you're wanting to short? Oh, yeah. Okay. I do know. It came to me. So because we know 2 of the 3 fractals on Bitcoin they have more downside, or they'll go enough below the origin line on Bitcoin to be a tradable move, more than more than a 1.5% to 3%, right? Very tradable. Then you know that in that area, it wouldn't be, so not financial advice, it wouldn't be a bad time to begin being interested in trading short. Maybe not looking for the big kahuna. Actually, I would strongly suggest not looking at that. Why? Because did you see how long all those fractals were on my Bitcoin portion? They were all about 20 to 35 days. I think I forgot to tell you that. From a timing perspective, Bitcoin's not going to drop significantly. It's not going to hit the next origin line down. It's not going to make new lows for about 30 days. It's not going to happen. Because of this wick. So if you begin being interested in shorts around that area for obvious reasons, then just realize in that play, you're not looking for the big kahuna because it's not going to happen. You would want to take profits as Bitcoin goes below the origin line, and that's where you start taking your profits because it's going to come back up and at least retest it from the bottom at bare minimum. It's not going to make new lows, perhaps until December, likely until December, at least late November, and that should keep you safe. So, and again, I think on the stream so far, I've talked about how to format your brain to the time axis, and that's another one. How to expect how long to be in that trade, slash, where to take, slash where to take profits, because the time axis, we're looking at 30 days for new lows. So therefore, you're not looking for the big next leg down. Make sense? All right. Long-winded, but this is a very important moment where micro time frames are going to create the midterm time frame big pivots. So I think I could have been more efficient with this, but I got all the details to you that I wanted, and we're sporting an Ethereum shirt, so let's go get the next one. All right. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say for a second. Probably because my fractals are lower. Okay, I'll just skip straight to questions. I've been tobacco-free for a week now, but I'm not even attempting to stop nicotine. I'm not marketing this or anything, but an independent name brand, it's nicotine, tobaccoless nicotine. And that might be why I'm losing my train of thought. So I don't have a nice bunch of tobacco in there. I usually use pouches, but it's not the same. But it sucks much less. My wife's been on my ass for years to stop, so I said, you know what? If that's what it takes for you to, shut up, and that's your strategy, you won't shut up until I do it, well, you win. I give up. I'm done. I want silence. It is. Tobacco's not worth listening to this every day. It's a good strategy. I can't blame her. All right, questions. Oh, man. Here we go. Yeah, Papa Long Boss. 15 years ago, I had not trained my voice. I didn't even know what a passaggio was or anything like that, right? Which is kind of like how people yodel. It's your break point from mid to high register. Not going into falsetto, but when you go to pure head voice, like, oh. I can sing really high without falsetto. I can sing higher than any male singer. Is that true, Bruno? Maybe Bruno Mars. But the highest note ever hit by a male, I think it was a rock. Oh, Steelheart. They only had one album, and it's the song "She's Gone." I can hit that note every other time I try. So good voice day, bad voice day, whatever. But anyway, so in there, my voice didn't break. I kept a non-falsetto voice the whole time. Anyway, so yeah, I could sing way better now. I work at it. All right, what's up, Wizard? What a week we've had. Can you look at DCA targets for Matic and Flux? Okay, I've already done Flux. I've already done both of them. I've already posted them for you. Yeah, I already posted them. You might be the loyalty tier, huh? I don't know if I want to give. How many people are on? Only 56. Okay, yeah, all right. I'll just pull it up. We'll do it real fast. I'm not going to record these though, so you get benefit. Even just everybody, whether you're a YouTube tier member or not, you get a benefit from this. We said Adam, right? Nope, you said Matic and Flux. What the fuck is that? Why? This is powerful. That's stupid. Who is doing that? Wow. The volatility indicator has to be going like even up to the, I bet even up to the 8 hour. Damn. That is some intense bidirectional volatility. Volatility without predictability is not good. It's not easy to trade. It's less profitable. So this means bigger money is interested in Matic, and their interest means this is showing that they are making money by taking advantage of retail traders. In this moment. Not always, but that's a good thing because that means big money's playing with this. Yeah, that wouldn't have happened with bigger money. All right, anyway, bottom targets. Shit, did I get rid of them? So for my Discord community and YouTube Cryptillion tier, I've posted a crap ton of bottom targets for large alts. Maybe I'm wrong. Did I not do Matic? Algo, XRP, HBAR, Quant, Atom, Matic. Okay, here we go. Oh, I should have taken off that channel before I posted it. Anyway, there you go. Those are your three right there. And then you said Flux. Holy cow, I've produced a crap ton of content for Discord and YouTube tiers over the last 2 days. All right, Flux, where are you? There you go. Give me the easy button, baby. Papa Long Balls. Did KDA go under another origin line? Not yet, but it's gonna hit it. It might not happen for a while though. It could hit this one first. It could hit this blue box first because it does have permission to do a failure pattern above this origin line here. So that's the blue box. It could go to 137 before it hit that line, and if that were to happen, it would be, it's almost the same price. So yeah, it's fall. Here, let's zoom in. It fell from an origin line. That's where it accelerated. It accelerated exactly at that origin line. And it fell out of my black triangle that I drew, a long time ago. I can get rid of that now. As much as I loved that triangle. Hey, let's put that back on there. Okay. I'll record this one. Because this one's actually, it needs a little bit of analysis. Because, okay. A few different things can happen on KDA. Let me show you the outside, the most extreme things that would happen. And then we'll tighten it down to what's more realistic and the options between the parameters of, there's only a 5% likelihood that something outside of the top and bottom of my parameters will happen, right? And 95% chance, let's just, for example, a very high percentage that what will happen will be between there. So to identify the parameters there, technically, honestly, I would have to say the bottom target would be even the next origin line down. Well, should I? No, that's not true because Bitcoin won't leg down for another till late this month. So actually, no. So origin line to blue box are your outside parameters. There is a 90%, just quote unquote, I promise YouTube I would never say 90% again, right? But whatever. My famous last words about Bitcoin might not go under 50K ever again, right? That was tied for the worst statement I've ever made on camera. If you speak long enough on camera, you'll say stupid shit too, okay? You'll mispronounce words, everything. All right. So the outside parameters, actually, let's make it the top of the blue box. So what happens throughout the month of November will be between the horizontal at 140 and this ascending origin line, which is not ascending too fast. Look how slowly these numbers change. So it's about a penny and a half a day is the slope, right? So those are the outside parameters. I don't want to go much lower. So let's also say within that a small dip below this, but it would immediately get back above here. So that is included in the statement. But this blue box, that's not. That top of the blue box is as much as it has permission to go up without touching this line. Okay? All right, so let's take a look. What could happen? Well, it is possible that KDA, for whatever reason, when Bitcoin is not selling off, so this is the least likely, goes down to touch this, thus gets permission or gets released from jail, that is its high. But it can only happen if KDA can touch that as Bitcoin is not significantly going down. Because if Bitcoin significantly goes down while KDA touches this, sure, technically on KDA's chart, it would have permission to go above this, but the next thing needed to get above this would not happen. Therefore, you would need Bitcoin to hit the green fractal from my Bitcoin portion of the stream, or and if you're a person watching the recording of this, you have to watch my Bitcoin video from the same day. Just skip to where you see 3 different colors floating around on the string of fractals. Skip to that part because I don't think I'm going to tag it. So what could happen, least most likely scenario, is it comes down how much percent? 16-17% to touch this, while Bitcoin does not significantly go below its origin line. Thus, Bitcoin still has permission to hit, 20 to 21K, right? Which it does still. It's in the cards. And then, so because it touched this, as Bitcoin doesn't go down, then KDA can go above here. A lot. Like not like reversal, this is the low forever, but it can go significantly above there on a percentage basis, right? You don't need to worry about that unless KDA both touches this and Bitcoin did not go too far below. Actually, I can tell you the exact level. It's that wick that I talked about earlier. Wrong chart. If KDA hits that and Bitcoin has not specifically gone below that level right here, why is that so small? What the hell? There we go. That number right there. The least likely scenario could play out. If Bitcoin goes below there and KDA hits it, then that blue box is still the top, because Bitcoin's not going to 21K after that. Back to KDA. So we're deducing, right? Trying to figure out all the things possible, but what are the 2 or 3 most likely? That's not that's like the 4th or 5th most likely. In general, it is very, very likely among the top 3, definitely, that you hit either this origin line or the blue box and then hit here. That's option number 1. So, from a timing perspective, I need to mark off end of November, because Bitcoin's not going to make new lows until that line is passed on the time axis, with a very, very high likelihood. So now that I have that on here, just in general, I'm not going to do the exact shape, right? In general. Well, I guess I will, whatever. Something like that. Shape number 1. That is definitely in the top 3 most likely because of the rules of the blue box and this line, or the origin line rules. Second, another very likely one, or a possible one, is it heads down first with Bitcoin, and Bitcoin goes below that point. If Bitcoin goes below that point, then we take off that green fractal, which allows Bitcoin to go up to 21K. It becomes like, well, it's still the 3rd most likely thing to happen, but it's so much less likely than 1 and 2 that you would only focus on 1 and 2 at that time. If that were to happen, KDA would very likely get rejected from here. Maybe a wick above, whatever, then head down. Maybe a little later too. I don't know. Sometime around this line. And it's possible it stays flat until this line and then goes down later. But for example, roughly around this blue line. Another very likely thing is a triangle. Can't make higher highs, but it's making higher lows because Bitcoin is too, right? But in order for the triangle to happen, here's a pop quiz, KDA fans, or no, anybody. You don't have to be KDA fan. It applies to all price of all cryptos. The question does, but we're using KDA right now to ask the question. I'm trying to turn down the volume on this. There we go, so I can concentrate better. Pop quiz. What KDA chart? Kind of a big hint. What KDA chart would tell you if the triangle is going to happen? Not this one. KDA versus Bitcoin. So Bitcoin going past 19K, around those yellow lines, or maybe even above. Actually, it'd probably be above. Yeah, that's 17%. KDA might not even make it there, folks. Am I going to fail my own pop quiz? I didn't think it was that high up. Because Bitcoin's top target is what? It's 10.25% up. Yeah, it's still the same answer. It's KDA versus Bitcoin. KDA has to be versus Bitcoin in an uptrend, or this line won't be hit. And neither will this one. So if KDA is not outperforming Bitcoin as Bitcoin's going up, then neither the triangle nor that first yellow one will happen. So you're going to have to use the Bitcoin pairing chart for this to get your hints and to calibrate your probabilities. KDA to get to here, it would require it going up versus Bitcoin while Bitcoin is going closer to 20 to 21K. If Bitcoin's not going up at all, then this ain't gonna happen either. So this requires Bitcoin both to go past, or to go up at least to that top yellow line. So for KDA analysis, you need Bitcoin analysis, period. Bitcoin has a damn good chance of hitting this. And at that as it's making its way up, and it'll probably pull back from there, KDA has to really be gaining versus Bitcoin on the KDA BTC chart, not the KDA US dollar pairing. Does that make sense? And at that moment, that would be the green box, not the origin line. So technically, the only way KDA can make the triangle, to get above that, to hit the next origin line up, is if the green fractal on Bitcoin is the one that plays out, which right now it's the third most likely, and KDA outperforms Bitcoin. So honestly, this is not that likely. It's not likely to hit 140 at all. But one Discord group of 500 people buying it, that could happen, right? It would probably require something like that to happen. And it does happen sometimes. Because it's not going to be big money pushing KDA. Like, big money is not even looking at KDA at all. That doesn't mean they won't in the future. Nothing against KDA. Like, I like Dash and Bpro. They're not, big money's not looking at Dash and Bpro either. So it's not anything against KDA. Because my favorite coins, big money's not in it either. Yet. Yet. At least yet not yet. All right. So with that said, I need to actually make new lines. I'm going to follow just the Bitcoin or just the general rules. Look left, look at, so 1, 2, and 3. That makes sense. That would be KDA performing flat versus Bitcoin as Bitcoin hits that top line. So honestly, it's probably most probable that before a pullback, that's the highest it'll go. And that price is nice and big. That actually might be more probable. But you'd have the same general shape of price movement. Up, then down, then maybe touch this, and maybe try back up, all that stuff, right? Playing between the green and the orange, the next origin line down. And that's why the measuring tool is so important, because I spent the first 5 minutes not having measured to get my own brain I didn't format my own brain to the percentage moves. I formatted it on the time axis, but I did not format my brain to the percent. That measuring stick is really important, folks. And that's what we got for KDA analysis. These are your outside parameters. Near 100% chance that through November, KDA will remain between here. But to make things even more probable, then you have green box and origin line. Maybe even more probable than that, this blue line to the origin line. That's it. All right, that's KDA. Sorry it took me so long to get to that conclusion, but I didn't measure. Shame on me. All right. Bexon1, nice to see you here. Hey, Tim, even though you made that comment probably like 45 minutes ago. Hey, Tim, by current states and levels, where do you see the price states and levels? Or the current state, okay, and level. Okay, I understand. My brain started thinking about the elections, like Georgia, Nevada, Arizona. Anyway, where do you see the price range for macro with a K bottom for BTC, and is it this year or next? Also, how can I pay to join your Discord? That's a good question. The links are in the description section of all my videos. And one of the links is a visual. Like it pulls up a PDF with arrows and pictures. Like click here and do this. Like a 4-step thing. It's a flow chart or something. Yeah, it's in all my recorded videos. I don't think it's in the live stream one. So you just have to go to a normal video of mine, and it's in all of them. I don't know if it'll be this year or next. I'm still thinking February, but all 3 of these fractals, they break down after a month. So I think it's going to be kind of close to the new year, because of recent news-driven price action. I think it shortened the time, really. And, I've said this a million times before, but it goes to the idea of, in a bear market, the price of anything, so let's just call it Bitcoin, but it could be Apple or Tesla too, right? In a bear market, you're like a person with a weakened immune system. You don't die from having a weakened or non-existent immune system. Technically, you really don't, right? You die from a pathogen that your body typically would fight off to the point where you don't even get a stuffy nose or anything. But you die from it. So it only takes one little thing to kill you. But until that one little thing is inhaled or you touch your mouth, whatever, till the pathogen enters your body, you live. It's a question mark when that pathogen will enter your body and when you're going to die, right? So die means Bitcoin tanks. Because that stimulus happened earlier than what I projected for Bitcoin's bottom, which is February, I think it's going to be in December or January because of this news. Yeah, the FTX deal. It's probably not going to. My guess is probably going to be. I don't care about my time guess being wrong. You can't time the market. I just picked February to be cute. And so maybe I could say I told you so later on. The more guesses you make, the more times you'll be right. Which is also why I pick 3 most likely options. Increased chance of one of them being right, correct? So that's the time. You also asked where. All right, so complete meltdown. It's interesting that price gets sucked in to the crosses of 2 very important lines, right? 10K line, support on that wick, resistance, support for months, resistance, support. It's a big ass line. Goes sideways, crosses an origin line here. On December, all right, let's zoom in. Christmas. Oh, fuck, it crosses on Christmas. Great. It's probably going to be before the new year. That should, now, does that mean price will hit it 10K on the, will hit it at, but exactly, at that level? I mean, maybe not, but this does add to the chances that it'll suck price down. And that price is right at 10K. If Bitcoin can hold up and hold the red line, which is uber important. I don't like it when people say that, but I said it anyway. It's the lowest that Bitcoin's ever been. And that was that was in 2011, it was $1. No! What did I went to the 2-minute chart. Okay, I was gonna say, oh no. Why didn't it do it right? Oh, it wasn't on coordinate. So I think this red line has a damn good chance of, only a wick past it. Sometimes wicks can be like 17% at most. Yeah, it's actually a little too much. It's like 7 to 12. And if it goes 7 to 12% below an origin line, then it's going to hit the next one down. Because that turns into the situation where among the 5 possible ways Bitcoin can interact with an origin line, one of those 5 is it skips that origin line without any support resistance and goes straight to the next one. So if it gets about 12% past this red line at any point, it could be way up here at 16K in March. It doesn't have to be at one price. It's just the line in general. But if it wicks more than about 12% below, then you can, not safely, but that's when the probabilities flip, or they're even. Or no, that's when they flip. That it's actually more likely to keep busting through the next one down. However, around 7 to 12%, somewhere around there, it's still a little bit more likely to come right back up, and that's the bottom. So this is a good contender as well, but it matters on when it hits. So if it starts going down on December 25th and people protect it, then about 12% below here is the most it can go down. No, not even that. I would say 7. Let's just call it 8.5. 12,261. Somewhere right there. If Bitcoin cannot separate from the stock market, which I think it will, but it might take 8 years though. It might be longer than what I hope. Then your yearly chart signals are going to get it. And Bitcoin will go back to $5,000 to $6,000. Yeah. So you got a big range. But it's going to hit this red origin line with an extremely high likelihood. So at least this. Here to here is a good choice. Around 10K or a wick below to fill that gap at 9,600. That's a good area. So these two, 10K to 9,600, and then around 5 to 6K. That's it. That's the what and when. Clay Bomb. I don't recognize that username. Welcome. I'm glad to have you here, Claybomb. Claybomb asks, how long do you think it will take BTC to go down to the next origin line? Oh, yeah, I've answered that. So you asked that probably an hour ago since I'm so long-winded. Yeah, a month. Late November to mid-December. A couple of those fractals were more like 45. So it could be late December. And that's the last move down. Yeah, if it were, honestly, if it didn't head down and for about 45 to 60 days, that's not 60. Yeah, it's about 45 days. That would be the last one with a very high likelihood. Let's see here. So yeah. Around late November to December. Let's call it December 1st to Christmas. How about that? And not everybody celebrates Christmas. I'm being moderately insensitive, but you know what date that is, the 25th. Saying it for a date. With Western goggles. Yeah, I haven't had anybody ask about Telcoin in a while. That had it was maybe the 5th biggest run in all of crypto. It wasn't even close to the size of runs of the previous market cycle in 2017. I mean, shit was going up 250,000%. A lot of them were. 250,000%. And one of my worst. So my other worst call in all of my time blabbing on camera recorded was Viacoin. And that coin did do 250,000%. But Telcoin, all things relative, it was a beast. Which means it's probably going to do pretty well. Oh shit, that was a good guess. I don't know when I drew. Oh yeah, I do know when I drew. I drew that in May. Damn. That wasn't a bad guess at all. I didn't get it perfectly right, but for a guess that happened freaking 6-7 months ago, 6 months ago, that's pretty solid. Yeah, this box. There you go. There is one problem, though, when you have... So, okay. This is actually kind of like BPRO. BPRO's bottom area is just way too obvious. There are three things that, so kind of like rules of how price goes to an origin line. There are only 5 possible ways it can behave. But as it touches it, you can typically rule out 2 almost instantly within a few hours, right? Same type of thought process, specifically when you only have one obvious level to bottom. You have 3 things that can happen. And as it's approaching that level, you can then start deducing, or at least putting an order, most probable, second most probable, third most probable. I'm going to play this one for now, but I still know these 2 could happen, right? The 3 things are, it does hit it perfectly. It's front run. It goes below and then zooms right back up to it within hours or days, but quickly. So that means when you have an obvious spot, if you plan to buy it at the exact obvious spot, you will be a winner for 2 of the 3 scenarios. Because even if it goes, let's say, you look at the exact instant your limit buy fills, and then it keeps spiking down, and you're 20% down, well, you already know it's going to come right back up. So you're still a winner. Like you'll just go take a nap and you'll be even, right? Then it'll be fine. So you'll be a winner in 2 of 3, but you wouldn't be able to buy it all if you didn't front run it. So now with all those things, there are only 3 ways it could possibly go. I guess the 4th one is you're wrong, but that is possible actually. But we're identifying this as an obvious level. BPro and Telcoin both have Verasity, but Verasity is so big that I don't think it can go lower than it. But anyway, because it's got this spot is obvious, but it's a pretty big range. So that means you would want to attempt at least the front run and the spot on minimum, or you could try picking up DCAing at 3 different levels for each of them. Front run, right on the money, right down below. So that in any universe that plays out, from right now, but from this moment on, 1,000 universes with Telcoin price in them, things can happen differently, right? Like crypto companies could go down, or CZ gets in, not wishing a car accident upon anybody, but in a different universe, right? That separates from this one at this instant in time. You could get a car accident and then Binance goes under and BNB tanks and it takes the whole crypto market, right? So just outside of that stuff, but in all the universes of weird things happening, if you did it at all 3 areas, you would never be in a bad situation in any of those 1,000 universes. But you're sacrificing hitting it on the head, buying the exact bottom. Should you ever want to buy the exact bottom? No, it really shouldn't be your goal. You should already know that you don't know where the bottom will be. So therefore, you make a plan like just what I said. How can I make it so that in 1,000 universes that separate from this one in this moment in time, how can I make sure that I do decently in all 1,000s, in all 1,000? Because if you only buy it at the exact obvious level, in 300 of those universes, you didn't get to buy any. And Telcoin screams up 100% and you're left in the dust. You're shit out of luck in 300 of those universes. But if you try it all 3, you're not shit out of luck in any universe, but you sacrifice being able to buy exactly where it should be. Does that make sense? So in summary, by deducing or by identifying all the reasonable possibilities and then how it can play out and in which ones you're a winner and which ones you're not, best case is to straddle orders. And in my Trading Basics playlist, it's when I was early YouTuber, but it's still valuable information despite the noise cutting out because I didn't know how to set up a microphone and all that stuff, all the stuff that goes along with it. all the filters and add-ons you have to download and all that shit. It's tough to do microphone stuff. But anyway, you would want to go to that playlist and you would look for the one that says something like straddle or ladder orders, something like that. And I think the thumbnail has Sesame Street like colors and shapes on it, like triangles and all that stuff, squares, but like with rainbow colors in it. That's the one you want to watch, and it shows you all the way to straddle orders. But in this event, the best one would probably be an even distribution straddle order. So you wouldn't go heavier at the bottom one, you wouldn't go heavier at the middle one, or heavier at the top one. You'd just do an even distribution, an even third. Or you pick your levels and you take an hour and a half, maybe not an hour and a half, but let's say you have $100, right, that you want to buy Telcoin with. You could technically spend about 30 minutes putting in, you pick your range, okay, so front run here, and then a big dip below here. It's maybe like this. You literally do 100 orders for $1 in the whole box. You don't have to go that gung-ho, but the higher amount you divide it, the more likely you are to do better. It just increases your chance to do well in that 1,000 universes, right? 100 is kind of overkill. But how big of a range is this? Oh, that's 160. It would take bare minimum 20 limit buys in there to do a nicely evenly distributed one. And the way you do that is this. You look at the top of the box and it says 001162. Oh, that was from that's not my chart. That's one of my VIP's charts. And when he had me pull it up, he goes, "I'm sorry if it's a little busy." And I was like, "If?" All right. God, I can't remember the number. 1162, 0011, yeah, 001162. Triple O 441. So you subtract the top or the bottom from the top, and that is the range. So you would take that and divide it by, let's say, 50, if you want 50 limit orders. But if you wanted only 20, then you would divide it by 20. And so if you started at the top, your next order would be this much less than your top order. When you don't have so many freaking zeros, it's a lot easier. Like things that only go to here, your units of 5 and 2 only, right? It's way easier. So Telcoin, what I'm showing you, it might be easier just to eyeball the damn thing and not do math. But things like Litecoin with bigger units of measurement, Dash, Bitcoin, it's much easier. Or you can think of it like this. Yeah, that would still be tough in your head. So for Telcoin, you actually might just want to eyeball it. So then you'd go down and do something like this. Split it in half. And honestly, sometimes even when I am doing this, like with 50 orders in an area, which I actually do kind of a bit in a bull market for selling. I sell a lot in a bull market. I'm actually constantly selling. Well, I wouldn't say constantly, but yeah, I mean, I am selling a lot in a bear. So sometimes I would do 50 limit orders in one, from one horizontal to the next. And then you can just eyeball it and zoom in. Okay, my first order is, just go like this. Boom. First one's there. Okay, put it in. Boom. Move it down. Second order's there. Bam. Third order's here. That's pretty fast too. But you don't have to do the math. That math is so much easier on bigger units of measurement. And that's it. Telcoin. Hopefully that was valuable. Or I know it was valuable for a lot of people, but hopefully I'm not telling you stuff that you kind of already know. And if you are, then my apologies, but you're welcome, everybody else who that wasn't obvious. All right. Stuart, I'm going to skip down to Stuart's super chat. It didn't alert me that you gave me a super chat. I'm sorry. It usually does something so I can see it before I scroll down. Sorry. Santa Boy up another 300. Hey, good job, Stuart. 300's really good. That's a really good day. I think the rumors are true. Trending #1 in the world on Twitter right now. I think 100x for sure. Thoughts? Oh, I thought you were referring to yourself as Santa Boy, like you had a 300% day on a trade. Santa Boy. I don't know. Man, I don't know what you're talking about. What is Santa Boy? Is that Solana? Santa Boy. Did you just pay $5 to spam? I mean, do that all day. I don't care. That's a good price point. You could spam me if you do it. I don't know. Santa Boy. This 7-day chart says it's down. I don't, shit. I feel bad that I don't know what you're talking about. Santa Boy. Santa. Right? Am I spelling it right? Santa? Okay, Santa. No, not the Mexican bank, which I think is the largest bank in all of Latin America. Santander. Santa wrapped ETH? Is this it? Yep, this might be it. What? It went below zero? What's your name? Stuart? Okay, so Stuart, in the spirit of your super chat, if I see your name down below without just a normal name, right? And you clarify your question, I would like to address it. I'm coming up short, man. Either a misspelling or spam for $5, which is totally acceptable. I mean, hell, my price point for spam, let's go to $3. In the future, if you want to spam, just $3. Everybody has their price. I'm cheap, baby. I'm cheap. It's still Satoshi's, right? Still be stacking sats, baby. All right. Yeah, clarify your question down below. Judas Priest. That's not a crypto, right? Oh, because I sang at that moment. Okay, I see. Okay, yeah, let's look at Solana. Okay. now that we've reached the point where I don't have to showboat about the I told you stuff, saying that wait to get Solana until it's under $30, and in the same video, no matter what happens here, way back, here or whatever, the price of Solana will still go between 12 and 22 bucks. That video that I pushed a lot, right? Because I made it so long ago, and it was just obvious it was going to happen, but everybody thought I was a lunatic saying it at the time. We don't have to go into all that. But now that it's down here, bottom targets for Solana, typically in bear markets, your bottom origin line is usually hit. It is possible that Solana recovers because SBF isn't a creator of Solana. He just chose that to, babysit along with his exchange, right? It was his gamble, essentially, on top of his other gamble, inventing a crypto out of thin air, giving it a value that's way too high, and then using all that value, holding the vast majority of it to take loans out against it when he printed it out of thin air, and now he's getting loans. That was a big gamble, but then he took a safer gamble on Solana. He's like, yeah, Solana is my safer bet, which technically it probably was, more than a Ponzi. So I don't think Solana's going to die or anything. And so that's why I'm saying this. It is possible that the way it satisfies needing to touch its bottom origin line is a double bottom. Look, that's the same price point, and that's in January. And it hits that bottom one. It is possible. Am I saying that's the most likely? I am not. But keep that in mind. This news-driven price action, Solana could easily go back up to 28 bucks. Easily. And then wait to take its time when Bitcoin finally legs back down to 13K or lower, which is extremely probable at this moment in time. It makes a double bottom. However, the vast majority of cryptos create new origin lines down in the next or its first bear market. Even Bitcoin. So Bitcoin in its first two market cycles, it kept the same bottom origin line, which is now its master origin line, which, big hint, so what I'm about to tell you is extremely valuable, but not everybody will be able to utilize it. The master origin line will be the tops of Bitcoin, of the next Bitcoin cycle. It might be one origin line below that, but it'll be resistance forever now. Which still means very high numbers in the future, hundreds of thousands of dollars per Bitcoin. So just because a future or previous support becomes a future resistance, that means Bitcoin won't go high. It will. All right. So with that idea, Bitcoin, this bear market, I think it created 4 origin lines below its previous master or bottom origin line. So relative to that, Solana's technically not bad off. It hasn't even hit the bottom one yet. So I'm giving, it hasn't hit the bottom one yet. Kind of impressive, honestly. And in light of all this stuff happening with FTX, I am surprised it did not touch, I'm surprised it did not hit 10 bucks. If it does break this origin line, then it could easily go 2 down. So I'm going to have to drag 2 down. If that were to happen around Christmas, 7 bucks. Seriously? If also on Christmas, it happened at the next one down, 5 bucks. If it doesn't happen by Christmas, it'll be higher. So between $5 and $12 has a probability of being the low on Solana. Because I don't think it's going to make it too well. Technically now it'll be 1, 2, 3. I don't think it'll go 4 origin lines down before Christmas, because if it didn't already break the bottom origin line with this news, it's not going to do it before Christmas, most likely. And those are your levels for Solana. Micro time frame Solana. It looks like it's going to get above this origin line. This is a pretty bullish consolidation, independent of this formation with the neckline. But the neckline is being formed exactly at the origin line for obvious reasons, because that is what, I don't know, they're magic. I don't know why. They just are. It's probably going to break up. I honestly think it's going to, I think it would break up even if Bitcoin doesn't go up. I think this will. So now you have to look left for wicks up and down, and that's where it's going. So this orange line is a good contender because it's roughly wick up and wick down. And then if it goes past that, it's going straight here without stopping. It'll go forward. I mean, on a percentage basis, that's a big move. It's like a 25% move, isn't it? Or a 20, yeah, about a 20% move. Yeah, 21. So as of now, it is, so you have 3 general things that will happen with Solana in the next 72 hours. Either this line acts as a rejection point, which in that a baby failure pattern would count. It could go a little bit above, right? So let's zoom in a little bit more. And I'm on the 15-minute chart. So within the idea that the origin line shoves it down, it can't get above it, that includes going just barely above for a failure pattern, then coming down either to find a higher low at this area or to retag this origin line here. I'll label those. So that's price path number 1, most likely over the next, maybe even more than 72 hours, maybe even through next, like Wednesday of next, maybe all of next week. Yeah, so to format our brain to the time of what I'm saying here, I would give the shelf life of what I'm saying, I would say 2 weeks. But you're going to be able to see among these 3 things what's most probable at any moment in time by looking at the tiny candles, like 5 minutes and 15 minutes and lower. Even though when you're in those, just realize your brain must be formatted to a 2-week time frame for this. Make sense? All right. Price path number 1. Also number 1. 1B. 1A, 1B. Okay? Price path number 2. No. Actually, I'm going to do price path number 3. Yeah. So price path number 3 could look identical to price path, I guess, number 2. But I'm going to do the 3 first. So go all the way up to here, to that. Let me just structure. It might be this wick as well. This is a contender. Yeah, this is the origin line. You know what? It might actually be this origin line. I'll put a box here. I'll call this 1. Yes, right here to here. It's that box. Price path number 3 is, in general, box then it would take a while to come down. It would float around this origin line, which is so it's rising, right, by a few pennies a day or whatever. It would, yeah, if it hit that box, it would float around this origin line, try to use it as support for days, most likely, once it got there. It wouldn't just fall right below. But on its way here, though, it might not be a straight line up. It might look like price path number 2 that would hit this, then in general break down. But instead of breaking down, it would form a higher low to this one and then hit that target. Does that make sense? So price path number 2 could end up turning, like it would be indistinguishable at that time. Like both would be equal probability, literally. Price path number 3 could then go like this. And then fall out, boom, 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 and then go sideways on the origin line. So in the next 2 weeks, one of these 3 price paths is likely to happen. Some flavor of it. Well, if it actually hits this origin line, we'll hit it exactly right here. No, that's not what I'm saying. Just roughly the similar shape, right? A rectangle and another rectangle are always rectangles, but one could be a lot bigger than the other, right? Yeah, there you go. Over the next 2 weeks, that's what's going to happen. All right. Or a version of one of those. And that is Solana. Harrison asked for ORAI. Okay, so on this one, okay, so I'm a chart person, and I typically tout, I see the news before it happens, or because of the chart, I can tell there is news. Therefore, I don't need the news. If you're trading stocks, then you can't. That doesn't really happen. That doesn't work because you need earnings reports, and whether they're good or bad, then you start, being long that day, whatever. Here, though, because of the nature of this coming into existence at near Bitcoin's true top of 64K, right? Because the second one, it wasn't real. Yeah, whatever. Just 64K top. It came out at the top. And it's gone down ever since, and it's been destroyed. That doesn't mean the project had a bad idea or tried to create a solution for a space that was a bad solution. Therefore, it was a bad business idea in general. Doesn't mean that. Bad timing. The bad timing of this could force a new company. Well, technically, it is a company, right? I mean, crypto is essentially turning into a stock market. Like it's the Nasdaq 2.0. Outside of monetary coins. Monetary coins will never be similar to stocks because they're not a company. And there aren't many monetary coins coming into existence anymore, like at all. So you really don't have to worry about it. But when you're straight down with bad timing, came into existence at the market cycle top, you can't rely on charts because the charts don't show you when the company founders get squeezed out because of the bad timing. They can't, because most of these companies in crypto, they're not making a profit. There are very few that are making a profit. So therefore, if their coin suffers from bad timing, they have no way to keep the lights on because they don't have revenue or profit, right? They don't have enough revenue to cover their overhead, keeping lights on, right? Paying employees, or whatever. You don't have enough money, so you're done. You hang it up. The coins, independent of how good or bad of a company they are, that came out with bad timing, they're way more highly susceptible to that situation than other cryptos that didn't have bad timing. Therefore, before you go seriously into this coin over the bear market, first you need to keep that in mind. It could be at no fault of this team's at all, but it's more susceptible to not coming back. To put motion or a specific plan of action to that thought, you're going to need to decipher the rate with which they're releasing news. Is it reducing? Go to their Twitter or wherever they post the most. Is the frequency with which they're posting getting longer, right? Or reducing? That would be a sign that shit, not only is it more susceptible, but now it's becoming more probable that's what's happening. You need to stay on top of that because, but on a chart, all you got to do is take the average slope and then time. That's it. Slope and time. Very simple. So since it has stayed in this rut for its whole life, guess what? It will continue doing the whole bear market. It'll stay in this rut. So slope, right in roughly in the middle-ish, the middle 80%. Time, if it is around Christmas, kind of like I was thinking earlier today, or if it was my original guess February, or hell, if it's later April, just realize the capitulatory event will likely send it to roughly the bottom of this. So you have 3 price points. You know the slope, you just don't know the time. So now you just leave yourself with 3 choices. Or 3 good guesses. Educated guesses. That's it. Be careful with that one though. Dora Factory. Another warning sign going into a bear market, which is common for almost all small caps, right? Because ORAI, the first time I was looking at it was at 12 million cap, and that was a long time ago, so it's probably at 1 million now, right? It's a micro cap now. You can also tell by the exchanges they're on. And looking at this, Uniswap's a good exchange, but I don't know if I want to count that. Gate, it's on Bit, so Poloniex, and I guess it's on okay enough exchanges. I guess that's not enough for concern. I take that back. But if you see coins that only have a few options and they're all exchanges are like, ugh, don't. It doesn't matter how hyped up you might be about like the project and this and that. It's just, I feel that is it makes it way too risky. Well, hot damn. This is at the probability pivot zone. So I don't think you have an edge either way on this one. This could be the handle / pullback of the cup. You need to retest the breakout and then you keep going. But also it's at the breakdown point where the probabilities of that happening flip drastically. And you can't tell. So you're going to have to create, where can I tell? You have to identify that. I'm looking left at Wix. Damn, that's a big 50-50 range. Shit. I guess I can make it a little smaller. All right, here you go. And you can do this for all cryptos when you're in this situation. This is no edge. You won't be able to tell. You will be just guessing. It's 38% range. Sorry that's the way it is, but here, your probabilities lie up. Above the green box, your probabilities start skyrocketing to trade up. Your edge becomes way greater. If you waited to enter above that line, and here, is you have an edge to the downside. And once you pass that bottom box, which is where the buy pressure began. So you see this swoopy, you can't see it on this. Okay, there you go. See how it started swooping? It's where it started swooping. That's when what this is, honestly, this means that bigger players were in it. This is a bot formation. This is what happens on Bitcoin a lot. On time frames between 1 minute to 1 hour. This is not typical for retail. Is this a big cap? Oop, I just put Dora. Dora Factory. No, it's a mid cap. 33 million cap in a bear market. Huh. I guess this just, this isn't a, it might be retail bots. I guess it could happen on retail. Anyway, for Bitcoin, if I saw this, I know that the algos started committing to an up position at that point. You can't tell until it's hindsight, obviously. You could start telling it about here because you start seeing the shape at a neckline. So yeah, these are where your probabilities flip and flip and flood. So they flood, probabilities flood to the upside here, flood to the downside here, flip here, and flip here. Here is a big ass no trade. You are just guessing. No matter how wizardry you think you are just guessing. But technically, just making a guess with risk management, that's fine. Just realize it might stay in that box for a month. That's also the problem of a no trade zone is the bulls and bears don't know what they're doing there. Therefore, it might go sideways until they figure it out. And those are your levels. Origin lines for Quant. You didn't see those. Okay, so to copy origin lines, you need to be on the same time frame chart for it to make sense in a calibrated fashion. I am on the 8-hour chart. So if you have free Tradingview version and you don't have the ability to look at it on the 8-hour chart, I'll flip to the daily here in a second. But the 8-hour chart is the smallest standard time frame, which all of price action fits on it's kind of a long screen, but a fairly normal screen. my middle screen here that you can't see, that I type and do my other stuff on, it's like almost 3 feet wide, but 8-hour time frame. Pause video snapshot. If you don't have that, here it is on the daily. There you go. Yeah, I had somebody post on my Quant like, you got it wrong. Well, yeah, I made that analysis before FTX blew up. I wasn't expecting a near capitulation event. But I guarantee you, in my previous videos, I said if the bottom of the triangle is used as resistance, you're going down. Did I pick the wrong level? Probably. I probably picked this level here. So I was right about that. I just wasn't right about how far it went down. But still, would you be in a profitable trade? Yes. So you're welcome. Shut up. I didn't maximize my gains because of you. Oh, was it profitable because of me? Okay, so zoom in here to a 3-minute candle. Did it use the bottom of the triangle as resistance? You're welcome. I don't even understand why. Like, I don't think that's trolling. I think that's like people are serious. But they don't realize, like, that person doesn't understand here. Well, it's probably a guy. Women aren't, well, I don't know if I should say that. I was going to say women aren't as unreasonable as guys, but in this sort of thing, they're not. Definitely not. In terms of trolling, that's a guy thing. So I assume a man or a male. He doesn't understand that what he's literally saying is, you didn't give me the right profit taking point. Well, I told you when it would go down. I'm so sorry that I didn't hit the profit taking point. Come on, man. Like, know the I almost said implications. Know the implications of what you're saying. What does it actually mean? It means you're complaining that I didn't give you the profit taking point. All right, but the signal was near, it was lit, you just saw it. Rejection from the bottom triangle, sent. Bam. And it was a perfect rejection too, wasn't it? Oh, wow. Remember in the Bitcoin portion, I was talking about the W's and the shape can happen on all time frames? Look, watch. Watch. From my Bitcoin portion, look. Wait, no. Yeah, here we go. So when was the first big move down? All the rules on a daily chart. Watch. It's the same rules, and it works perfectly. Look. And that's probably why this went up so high. I didn't see it. I should have seen this. Damn it. I should have seen it right there. God darn it. When was this? September. Man. Oh, yeah, September on that green candle there after that closure. September 22nd. Very obvious trade at bare minimum up to 153. Golly. Anyway, so where was the first strong move down? Actually, here, let me record this. Quant has a shape that I just showed on Bitcoin on a, 15-minute chart? And I gave 3 specific frames of mind or rules about ways to think about this pattern. A lot of people call it inverse head and shoulders. I don't call it that. But if that's what you want to call it, whatever. A bottom formation, the most common way. 3 main things. The first one is 3 waves down. That's what creates inverse head and shoulders. It's the most common way crypto goes down on that time frame. Right? I said it happens on all time frames. First big move down was here. Call that 1. Second big move down, 2. Third big move down, 3. Check. The second thing is, in order to know with an exceptionally high probability of exactly where it's going, like over 70% chance, right? Not at this moment in time, right? But maybe more like here or here. So you can't tell here at the bottom. You can start making that guess after you identify 1, 2, 3. Oh shit, I can make a decent guess now that it'll go all the way up to where this next rule would send it with an extremely high probability. I guess you could have guessed, honestly. Maybe here you could have guessed this high or low. Anyway, the second rule was you look back to local highs, 2 and 3. The second and third local high looking left. 1, 2, 3. It will go to the second or the third one almost every time. Way over 50% chance. Do you usually see this on the daily chart? No, you don't. This is that was like what was that, like a Homer Simpson laugh? No, that's Family Guy. I just laughed like Peter. All right, anyway, that's just the way it works. 5-minute time frames, 1-minute time frame, it just does, like almost every time. What happens after here, whether it's a breakdown or a breakout, or a break up, which is a fake out, then breakdown, which is actually the third most likely way of it to happen, or if not tied for the second most likely way. Anyway, so let's mark those bitches off. So at this moment in time, you could have made an educated guess that Quant was at least going between these numbers. At this point right here, after you got above the origin line, or established another an uptrend. So technically right here on this candle, you would have had not just a good guess, an educated guess, but a probabilistic. So you would have had a trading edge all the way up to 154. Exactly. See here. Higher low. Now, somewhere around this area, because you established a daily uptrend. At that exact moment, this became way more probable than anything else. Bare minimum 154. So I've only gone over the first two. What was the third one? The timing. And you can time the market to a certain degree or have a good educated guess on how to format your brain on when to expect weird stuff to happen at the neckline. How to do that is, remember what I said? I think I said it in a weird way so you remembered. The third one. Price is beautiful, right? Price action is beautiful and symmetry is beautiful. So therefore, it's got to be symmetric. And to be able to time, I don't know if I should go to that wick. I think the time might have started here or here. I know it's this one. And then maybe only to here. So between that point, what the hell just happened? So to know when stuff's going to go down or move, just start like getting more volatile. No, it would be around there. It'd be between this point and this point. There you go. That's it. It happens every time. Like, it's almost every time. That's exactly when it started breaking down. So these shapes, the cool thing about it is that not only, so typically you won't see this on the daily time frame, right? That's probably why I wasn't even looking for it. That's kind of rare. Shame on me though. I should have caught that. The neat thing about these shapes, inverse head and shoulders, is you only have 3 ways it can, well, technically 4. It could break down before it ever forms. So you could be front running it and wrong because Bitcoin sends it down or whatever. That actually does happen quite a bit. So there are 4 outcomes. It breaks down before it ever happens, but it's actually the least likely. So let's focus on 3. But you got to keep that one in mind. Like, you got to use risk weight. It can break down. The 3 most common ways by far that these shapes play out is it goes up to the neckline, gets rejected sitting down. Second, it gets to the neckline, fumbles around a little bit, maybe spikes low, especially on big caps, right? Because big caps, before those people getting ready to send it up buy it, they will have futures orders down lower, usually look left for a wick. That's where they're going to send it. And they know they're going to send it up. They already have calculated how big of market buys and what time, in what time frame they must do it, because they've been likely studying the order book for a while, right? Advanced algorithms, that's what they're doing, or at least part of what they're doing. Probably doing a lot more than I would ever know. But so in the second one, it fumbles around there. Often before it breaks out, it'll spike down so that those big players get ready to send it up. They sell that same asset on spot price into their futures orders, which is technically not even the same thing, right? Futures are literally like paper. It's not real. It's an IOU literally, but they send it into their IOUs. Once it hits, now their long's in shape and they buy it all back and start sending it. But in general, it goes to the neckline and breaks out. But within that, the bigger the coin, the more likelihood it is that you'll have, for that time frame, 1 candle. So if you're looking at a 5-minute time frame, it's a 5-minute candle. It's daily time frame, it's 1 day. It'll be sent down and then sent right back up before it breaks out. That's number 2. The third most common way is what just happened here. And I don't know if this is technically, this might be tight for the second, whatever. It goes up to the neckline, breaks out, which was a fake out, and breaks down. That's it. So with these patterns, not only do you know that there are only 3 possibilities of the way price is going to move at the neckline, but you also know roughly when to start looking for it, so you're not entering a freaking position too early and expecting, I'm going to make money this hour. No, you're not. Look at the symmetry. You have a week to wait. So forget about it, right? And that's Quant. All right. Could you do an analysis on band protocol? Xander, I said my price point for spam is $3. Thank you, Xander. I'm just messing around. I don't know if you saw that other part. Somebody asked about Santa coin or Santa Claus coin or something. Spent $5 on a super chat to talk about their coin. I mean, that would make sense maybe if you're on a bigger YouTuber's channel, but honestly, I think he wasted his money. This is... There's news. The team released something. This wouldn't have happened without news. it's hard to analyze what's going to happen in these types of moves. And when I say news, it's news plus a YouTuber talks about it. That's likely what happened. Thursday, November 3rd. What is this called? Band protocol? So when you see this stuff in the charts, you can go straight to YouTube, use the filters for, what date was this? A week ago. So I'll put this month. Or can I just do a data range? YouTube's not going to let me filter the results for band protocol to a specific date parameter. It only says this year, this month. Okay, whatever. It'll work with it. So 6 days ago, one YouTuber, that's not the same. Best crypto coin to buy now, 2,000. That maybe is big enough. Also 6 days ago, another YouTuber, 7 days ago, which hits it on the head. Another one. On the same day it shot up. Another one. We're the ones that are 8 days ago. Yeah, so this was YouTube. So they released something. Seven days ago. So maybe I need ones that are 8. Why did everybody start covering this damn thing at the same freaking day? Oh, wait, what was this, 2 weeks? No. It has to be videos 8 days ago or more, because all of those were people covering it only because it hit the top gainers. And most of these people are only, they really haven't covered it before, but all they do is cover coins on the top gainers list to try to, grow their YouTube channel. Which honestly is not a bad way to do it. One of the top 10 YouTubers, that's specifically what he does. And with my B Pro play, with my pump group, because B Pro went up because of me, it was my actual bet that that certain individual would pick it up if my group could get it on the top gainers list. And we got it on there 2 days straight. And guess what? The next week, he talked about it. And guess what? It flew like 1,200%. So if you ever try doing that in the bull market with a coin that hasn't gone up, your entire goal is to get it on the top gainers list, not financial advice. And I've only pumped a coin once ever, but I wasn't a YouTuber then, so don't give me a hard time about it. It was a personal friends group, and I had never made a crypto YouTube video in my life at that time. 2 weeks ago, band protocol news, band price. So they came out with something a couple weeks ago, probably about staking, and everybody started buying it because of staking. Then all the other YouTubers talking about it 7 days ago. On the 3rd and later, they're only covering it. So those weren't the stimuli to make it go up. Rather, those are the people covering it because it got on the top gainers list. I didn't see anything definitive, but it looks like they came out with a 178% staking, like back here. And then the YouTubers started slowly covering it, and then once it did this, then more people covered it. So now that we know that, it's just staking, it's probably going to break down. I don't think many people are fooled by staking stuff anymore. You only get fooled by that in a bull market or early bear market before you accept it's a bear market. Okay, so here's how to do this. If you're trying to trade this, use Wix as your guide when probabilities begin to significantly change. Right there. Ooh. On this next one, I'm actually going to use the lower one. So, all right, in this range, in that range, kind of like I did earlier, it's roughly just a guess on which way it'll go. I mean, it really is. You don't know. Is it okay to make a guess? Yeah. If I had to guess, I would guess it's going to break down. Why? Because it's bear market. But I guess if Bitcoin tries to go up to 21K, then my guess would be wrong, but at least I would know I'm simply guessing because it's in the yellow zone. Once you get below $2, then the probabilities flip that you will have this as the next target. And it's a descending line. It is not a horizontal. So the longer it takes to do it, the lower it'll go. That's just how it'll work. So this line here at $2 does not initiate the move down, but that's when it becomes significantly more probable, like over 50% likely in that snapshot of time, a 1 minute wick, the first 1 minute goes below, and that exact instant, the probabilities very mildly favor, like 51% or whatever, hitting this line as the next target, as opposed to hitting this line as the next target. Make sense? So these the yellow here and here are your probability pivots. Your probability floods to the upside is here at that wick. If it can get it back above there, then your probability floods highly in favor of continue longing. Actually, I actually did this correctly. This level, and I'll mark these off here in a second. This is your probability flood of when it's just extraordinarily probable that this line is the next target, right? But you got to realize in that means it could make a lower high and it could go up fairly significantly, right? Yeah, go up 20%, 15% to make a lower high. But still, that target's not hit. This one's hit next. So be careful with that. Doesn't mean it's probability flood doesn't mean necessarily acceleration. Often they go together, but sometimes it'll bounce on that exact point, and then the second time it goes below, that's when it accelerates. You got to be careful. You got to understand how price. It takes several years to identify where your pivot points are. You just need experience. You need to be wrong a lot. And you look back, I was wrong. Where was it actually? Oh. And you need hundreds and hundreds of moments of oh before you're good at it. I've done this for 5.5, 6 years now. I have a lot of oh moments. As weird as that sounds. So with these lines, this is where a fake out would occur as one of the primary options, the way it would behave around the probability flood zone. And here, a bounce to make an aggressive lower high is one of the options. Also at the probability flood zone, right? And there are your levels. Boom. Okay, I think I got rid of all the spammers. Martin Scott, non-community member, asked, BTC stochastic RSI 4-hour chart is crossing down for now. Yeah, because it needs to come back down to touch its EMA. It was too far above it. Yeah, we were actually talking. This is one of the things that made me late to this YouTube show. Looking literally at this. It's still like the next move down on Bitcoin for new lows might not happen until that trend line's hit. Let me make a projector tool because that's kind of a shallow slope. Yeah, so it can go like this. Watch. That would be December 1st. That would be one cycle of the 4-hour chart. That's about right. From here, so it can get a little longer, or it could be shorter. So this is one cycle, one oscillation, here to here. So how long was this? 13 days. This cycle was big. 36 days. This cycle, 28. This cycle, 38. 13. So yeah, that aligns pretty closely with my other guess when Bitcoin will make new lows. Late this month or, through Christmas. So the way I drew it was one of the shorter versions. So if my guess of December 10th is accurate, you would just have to expand this, which is still in line with all the other cycles or the oscillations, a full cycle, right? Up and down. Or no, down. Or so it's down, up, and then all the way back down, completing the cycle. But it could happen a little earlier. Easily could. Yeah, but this is nothing. This is just a pullback. And honestly, in moments like this, using this as your entry, as an entry signal or an entry verification tool, like confluence, whatever words you want to use, extra layer of confidence. Once it hits it, starts ticking up. There you go. But if it goes below it and ticks up, you have to wait until it's above the white line. Usually a bounce on it. So like this, you'd have to go boom, not yet, because it could get rejected there. If it did this and then ticked up, I would probably hit it there because you have a higher low structure and it's more likely to come up, even before it bounces on it. And a lot of times RSI gets stuck in this zone here between white and red, and price goes sideways for a few days before bulls and bears can figure it out. That's a pretty common way. And then it hits the projector tool. And that's late this month as well. Yep, there you go. It's just a pullback to its EMA. It's still, for this time frame, that RSI is still bullish. Zoomed in. If you zoom out, is that super bullish? No. But for immediately trading one direction, like using the 4-hour chart for an immediate signal, that's not a bad way to do it. All right, let's take a look at what Bitcoin's doing so I can wrap up. And then I need to start my live chart for everybody again. All right, so. Ooh. Okay, so here's one of those instances, like I was saying during my Bitcoin portion, the probabilities can flip one way or another, which midterm time frame fractal will play out until there's separation from this line. You can expect most probable is the red or green one. Oh, back below, now the most probable is the, no, not red or green, that doesn't make sense. The orange or green one. So right here, orange or green fractals for the next month, they're most likely. Right now, it's the orange and red one. The probability's flipped. So the three most likely ways that price will move over the next 30 to 45 days, it just changed. The orange one's still a top contender, but now you replace the green fractal, which could hit 20 to 22K. That's no longer a top three. Or no, sorry, it's no longer your top two. It's still a top three. Because it could easily get right back above this line, and then it's the top two again. So there's an area of being fluid here. And I said earlier, your probability flood doesn't happen until this wick is taken out. So right now, yeah, the probability of red or orange, it is in favor, but it's not drastically in favor until that's taken out. When this is taken out, even the next time price gets above the origin line, it's still the green fractal that goes to 20 to 22K. It's still not the top two most likely because you have to interpret that as a failure pattern. Until you take out local highs, that one would be a fake out. I think your probabilities for upside, if this were to taken out and it got back above the origin line, your probability isn't better than 50% to the upside until that is taken out. But then again, everybody would be looking at that at that time and fake outs would happen there. So you'd have to be careful, but the probabilities would still probably flip to 51% chance of orange or green fractal playing out. So if this line's taken out, then next time your new probability line at that exact instant, it goes below then up at that instant. Your probability has changed until this point. But if you can get above that, spike up, come back down, use it as support, go up, then go below, right? So then the probabilities instantly flip back to orange and red. If at that moment it then gets back above, well, then this is your probability flip line for green and orange again because you established a higher low structure and use it as support. Make sense? And you already took out that high. And it would be a higher low to whatever low it's getting ready to make. So boom, or up, down is a higher low, boom, boom, boom. Once it got back above, it's still more probable. So this should keep you safe. Let's look at what US 500's doing. So Bitcoin versus stocks is really going down right now. I have a VIP soon to be team leader, if you're listening, who thought that Bitcoin might V-shape versus the stock market. And that's when I just cut everybody off. I said, no, I'm 6 minutes late. I don't have time to look at this. It won't happen until that's hit. But if Bitcoin can test down while futures of stocks are sideways, no. By the time it got down there to then race up against the stock market will already be pulling back and heading down. So if Bitcoin underperforms stocks, starts bouncing right when stocks turn around and it's trapped down here, it's going to be worse. So actually, this is not a good thing. This is definitely more bearish. This honestly, it doesn't rule out the green fractal, but it is drastically reducing its probabilities. Because SPX, just look, you tell me what's getting ready to happen. Or no, you tell me what the best, most probable guess is about what's getting ready to happen. This is the all-time high of the stock market. What is the most likely thing that's getting ready to happen? I hit that line or a failure pattern above, maybe not as aggressive as that failure pattern, maybe half as much. And it's going to come down. But it could be as late next week, though. It could hang up there. It could hang up there all week, actually. How long did this stay up there? 11 days. Yeah, it could be all next week, actually. We might have a whole... So that would allow Bitcoin to go up to that top yellow line. If it both hit that origin line on the stock, Bitcoin versus stocks, and it spent 8 days here, and Bitcoin spiked up as this went sideways. No, that's still not super bullish, because it would have to do a V shape and bounce as stocks go up in order to hit 20 to 21K. So that would mean Bitcoin tests down below that wick, comes up, and only does a failure pattern above the origin line. Let me see. Okay. Actually, all right, now I need to look at this. All right, halfway, that high. Percentage. That's only one. No, Bitcoin's not, it's not going to happen. I'm going to right now say that the green fractal is significantly less likely. Bitcoin can't be heading down versus the stock market when the stock market only has 1% left to go. So it's either going to be yellow or orange. Which still can mean 19.8. But Bitcoin's not going to go any higher before it hits the next. It has to hit the next origin line down. And now we can say with a pretty good probability, Bitcoin will not go over this before sub 14K. It's not going to happen. There you go. And now that it took out that wick, I don't even think this is going to happen. It could. Because it could go, let's see here. Yeah, so what I said earlier about market makers spiking it down before it blasts up, that would have happened. That was it right here. That was that they sold it on spot. They already had their limit buy orders on futures at this 2017, 2020 obvious horizontal. And then they took on longs and took it up to the next local high. So this is not a pullback before spike up. That's it. It's gonna break down. Because this is the time when it's supposed to make up its mind. Symmetry. Price is beautiful. Symmetry is beautiful, and beauty often requires symmetry. That's a better way to say it. Price is beautiful, and beauty usually requires symmetry. Unless your name is Picasso or something. And I am really surprised this is happening. Yeah, this is not a fake out. It's not a fake out. Wait a minute. Let me look at it without my lines. Let me look at it with just the shape. It actually might still be okay. Okay, so we have the symmetry this way. And this is when price is supposed to make up its mind. But could it simply be completing the symmetry to touch this wick or that wick? It looks like it's already below. If it's already below, it's not a fake out. So the direction is down. Huh. Because not only do you have symmetry this way, left and right, but you have it up and down too to touch this wick. So how many times was this line hit and bounce? Twice. So therefore, you can do it twice. But if you go below, at the time it's supposed to move, which is here, then you broke symmetry, and now the sellers are going to say, yeah, it's going down. It might not. I don't think it's going to make new lows. Don't get excited. Don't short shit to oblivion. I don't see a new low until late this month or late this month to Christmas. So a lot of people are going to be buying that trend line, even though this already broke down, and they're going to send it into this triangle, and then it's going to break down, and then it's going to take out this low, and it's going to come to here. That's tomorrow. I'll leave that on my chart. See how that works out. Yeah, because you have to interpret everything as what are buyers doing, what are sellers doing, and how hard are they going to do it. That's like literally it. So one group of buyers are obviously going to be looking at this line. They're going to buy it. But people, probably a larger group of people, are going to not let it, they're not going to become buyers because they already know that it broke down. And this is not a fake out before it goes up. with a high likelihood. It's very, well, could it? No, this is not a fake out. So these people seeing this, they're going to buy into that. And then once it gets to this local high here, or that local high, so yeah, roughly in this triangle, sellers will step in at 17. They'll step in just above it. Because once bigger players see this, they're going to know they're going to go short. So, and they're going to know a lot of liquidity is going to lie over there in form of liquidations and shorts, and they're going to buy on spot with their futures orders, sells already there, and then they'll send it down. So my guess for Friday is this. All right, I got to, let's see here. Can you, cheese, yeah, or chilies or whatever. Yeah, I have that chart pretty well. And thanks, Christian. I have that chart pretty well mapped out. Kind of pissed me off. I made a really big short play. Well, all things relative. Where was it? Yeah, it was here. Because it had the habit of going above this line a certain percentage. And I probably sprayed it with like 20 limit sells on futures, moderate leverage. And only one of them filled, the bottom one. Pissed me off. Come on, every time you hit the, so I guess it did technically get it perfectly there, but man, it's like, jeez. It's like, had I put my orders there, it probably would have gone this high then. Like, fucking screw bags. I still got, I mean, it was still a great trade, but it wasn't, on a percentage basis, it was awesome. Because I sold it at this origin line, but that's still a big play. Oh yeah, 25% times 15, that was a big trade. On a percentage basis. I probably had less than like 100. Yeah, I did. Yeah, with 15 to 20 orders, I had less than $100 on that. In that trade. Oh, well, first off, draw this. Just copy this. Can you do it on the 4-hour chart? Nope. I'll do it on the daily. There you go. Copy that. Nope. Let me do this. Copy that. Now, second, I usually like to use my ribbons to give me better guidance of how price will interact at the lines before I can actually see it happening. Kind of like on my XRP video from a few weeks back where I said on this third bounce at its triangle, it's more probable to actually break down because of what the ribbons are saying. It's not going to get very far above this line. That might have been it. Yeah, gray-blue cross on the 15-minute. That's a pretty big deal. There, just look. Watch. Oh, I don't want to hit the gear because I'm not supposed to give away my parameters. Oh, it's just the colors. Sweet. I didn't know if it was going to pull up the numbers or not. Yeah, this is just a race up to retest this. You did have one fake out, but that was near the bottom of the range in an uptrend. So there was one fake out. Okay, that's it. All right, so zooming out now. At least within this time frame, these are your gray blue crosses. And this one's rushing up to it. And none of these examples were that, but still, it's not, yeah, this is not going to get very far above here. News-driven price action could change that. But without news, it won't. This would require news to break out. Anywhere above a quarter. Without news, it can't get above a quarter. Or without putting in sideways time. That could help too. Sideways down like this. Getting trapped in here, putting in time, that can do it too. And it would probably only need... about that. It'd need 2 weeks. So it either needs 2 weeks between these two lines without breaking below this channel line. Not too much. If it breaks below, it has to get right back above within, the day. Independent of closures, doesn't matter. The closures really don't matter on this. It's just bouncing on 5-minute candles on top. So if you go below, it has to come right back up. Yeah, it has to stay here for 10 to 14 days, or you need news in order to get above 25. 25 is still on the table. But not over. Without those two conditions being met. It looks like it's going to go get it. So the 15-minute one will overpower this 5-minute one. Most likely. I mean, in any up move and a reversal, the lower time frames have to overpower the higher time frames by default. That's the only way it works. So it's possible that this is one where the 5-minute flips the, it undoes that gray-blue cross, but all this one's telling me is, does it still have a chance to hit this or to hit 25 cents? And hell yes, it does. So 25 cents is absolutely on the table right now. If not, honestly, it looks like it will hit this. It looks like it's going to hit 24 cents to me. That's a perfect pullback. That blue line's a big deal. And if you do that exactly as the rainbow crosses the blue line, that's even more powerful. What's even more powerful, though, the reason I think the 15-minute will overpower it, therefore 25 cents won't get over, is because the gray line is not above the blue line. So you need that. So what happens is, once it comes up, the gray line will be coming up to the blue, and that stimulates a pullback. Just like ribbons to blue stimulated the pullback. Gray to blue with ribbons all in there. Once the gray gets up here, it will pull back into it without news. Yeah, so that's, I don't think the 5 minutes going to flip it because this gray's, now had the gray already been above it and it stuck this landing, like if the gray line were here, then I would give it maybe a 50% chance of getting above a quarter. But this says pretty clearly that it's extremely probable that the 5-minute will try up, but it'll break down as this grade gets here or before, or right around that time. Because the 15-minute doesn't agree and the 5-minute cannot overpower the 15-minute without that above here, usually. Yeah, I think that was good. And use those lines, copy them. Now that you know that, where to look for, not financial advice, just use the lines. How is price interacting with it? Is it above it? Use it as support? Good. Going up to the next one. Did it just go below it? Well, then look out for lower high. And then if it goes below it, use it as resistance, then you're shorting all the way down to the next one. Very simple rules. Like super, super, super simple. And that is why I've almost 3x'd my dash on spot trade in a bear market, which means I can't short. I just followed the rules of my lines. Like I was only trading a channel. Yeah, I made a 13% play in one day. So yesterday to today. So if you want to get a look at how I spot traded, this isn't always my style. So this was more like a volatility play. Why didn't I buy there? Because I saw it here. And then, what was it? Coinbase, the 30 days for my computer or whatever to not do the 2FA thing, authenticator, it ran out. And my app wasn't working right. So I'm over there freaking out for like an hour, like it's gonna go up, like, ah! So I ended up buying it right there, even though I did see it here right after it hit. So about an hour after it hit, I was like, yes! You already got higher lows and higher highs on the 5 minutes. It's going up significantly at bare minimum to this line. Minimum. But then I saw what Bitcoin did, and it got to its second. So look here, let's take this off. So same rules. On this shape. Well, this behaved a little bit differently. 2 and 3. Yeah, so 3. Yeah, that was 3 waves. But look left, 2, 1, 2. That's where I sold. Right at that one. Ooh, and I left half of it to sell higher. Ooh, just in case. Good thing I did that. I almost canceled the order and sold it on market. Am I all tethered up now? Oh, hasn't hit my order yet? You stupid son of a bitch. Why didn't you hit my order? Yeah, so I make my dash spot trade public, right? Because I started with 100 dash and I'm just challenging myself. So I'm okay. You know, this isn't like my whole portfolio, but I wanted to take 100 dash to 500 dash before Bitcoin's weekly 10 got above its weekly 21, which means the bull market either has begun or will begin after price goes back below the weekly 10 and then back above. That's when the bull market begins. There are only 2 options once that happens. Either one more swipe down, but then the next time, then you can go big money. You can literally like feel, well, not financial advice. The way I interpret it is I prefer it when you get the fake out on the macro signals because you know the next time it goes above, you can go all in safely. That's how I think of it. You don't have to think of it that way. Not financial advice. But before that point happens, I wanted to trade up to 500 dash. So where is my order? $37.70. 17 cents off. Oh, I gotta cancel. Should I? Let me look. See if I should even cancel the order. It might hit. Now I'll leave it. I think it'll hit. Because Dash is outperforming Bitcoin on the micro time frames. So when Bitcoin comes up here, Dash will fill that order. Yeah, I'll leave it there. And if I get screwed and it just everything capitulates and never goes up to that, that's my DCA. So that's cool. I'm fine holding that for a few months, that portion of it. Let's go down. So yeah, I bought here at 32 yesterday. So 9 is the day, right? For everybody not in America, our month comes first. Well, that was just one order. Where are all the other ones? Oh, it won't let me scroll down? I bought quite a bit more than that. Where is it? So limit buy. Oh, I just can't see it. I have to. Yeah, I dumped 65 dash there, 33 there, and 33 there. So if I bought, I wonder how much I would have if I bought all right now. 10,939. I would have 300 dash just with that portion, plus the dash I have now. I have over tripled it. Fuck yeah. Yeah, so with the available tether divided by current price, if I market bought right now minus fees, so it'd probably be more like 300 even. That portion alone would be 300. And then the 30, how many? 32, no. The open order, Tim. Yeah, it's the same amount. The 32. So I've more than tripled my dash. I'm gonna have more than 500 dash before the bull market. Fuck yes. I'm going to make it. Unless I screw up, which could happen. God, I hope I don't screw up. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't even know that. I thought it was closer to like 280 or something after this last play, but I guess my last play was bigger than I thought. I did hit it pretty hard. I hit it with like a full like $11,000 there. So I guess I increased it by. I mean, yeah, that was a good trade. Only 13%, but 13% times a bigger number is an okay, moderate sized number. Sweet. Litecoin. Should I even say this? I will. You know what? I'll do this, and then I'll be done. Litecoin possibly bottomed. And for anybody who is not new to my channel, you well know that I get bearish easily. And I had been making edited videos with music and all that stuff on it to try to get people to understand everything's getting ready to go down when Bitcoin was around 40K before Christmas or around Christmas. And I still think that is that when you go to my YouTube channel, that's the thing that plays is the boom, boom, bada, bing, yeah, that type of stuff. So take what I'm saying with that point of relativity, that I'm not somebody who instantly calls bottoms all the time. Rather, I would be more susceptible in the bear market to being too bearish, right? Because if you're going to have a bias in a bear market, it should be down, not biased towards a reversal. Which I've spent many years doing that, trying to always catch the bottom or catch the top until I realize it doesn't work. It takes a while. You just literally realize, oh my God, it doesn't work, so stop it. Even after you learn that lesson, though, it still looks so good. Oh my gosh, it still looks so good to try. And sometimes I do try, but I don't do it with big money. Anyway, so I've done an analysis here where Litecoin, even if Bitcoin goes down to my next origin line, which what you see here are origin lines, right? You'll only find them on my channel, nowhere else. I made them. But you're welcome to copy unless you're a YouTuber. Actually, I hope you do. Like, look at this chart. Just copy it, right? Here, let me get myself out of the way. Actually, here, maybe I should do this. So for anybody in the community, Discord community, I don't know if you'd be able to find this through the YouTube tiers, but I've already posted these origin lines. So you can just go find them there. But anybody else for YouTube stuff, you don't have to get fancy with the rainbows. Just try to do that. All right? If you're a Litecoin fan, here, let me restart this video. If you are a Litecoin fan, then you probably should copy this. Unless you're a YouTuber, then don't copy it. Because origin lines come from my channel and me. So everybody else, you're okay, unless you're a YouTuber. I want to show you that even as a bearish person, I think that Litecoin has a chance to have already put in a bottom at around 40 bucks. And if that is true, then in the event, well, when it's actually statistically exceptionally probable, Bitcoin goes sub 14K. Because the origin line rules, as most of you know on my channel, they work. And the rule is Bitcoin cannot do anything more than a failure pattern above the origin line it just busted down through until it hits the next origin line down, which is 13.8. Or no, it's 12.7. If it takes a while to get there, it'll be like 13K. But either way, it's under 14K, right? So even in that event, when that happens with a high probability, Litecoin would only double bottom. Could it go lower? Sure. But I think it's roughly a 50-50 that it's bottomed. And here's why. Very simple. As long as you can appreciate that these lines work. If you are new and you're looking at this like, what is this stupid shit? Like, you know, this you're like rainbows or something. Okay, just they work. Which Bitcoin video was it? I need to do a tutorial. I need to make a video that I can link to people. Say, if you don't think these work, go watch this video. But make the assumption that these lines work exceptionally well, even if you don't want to. With that, I'm going to pop this bad boy on. And the orange vertical lines are the halvening events. The projected one. This could be off by up to 7 days either way, but right? Because it depends on the block times, which only have an average based off the code, right? Which changes the mining difficulty, but per hash rate. But still, what we have here is, when does Litecoin bottom? 140 days before that halvening. 230 days before that halvening. Right now, we're 271 days away. That in and of itself, when I first looked at this, I said, nope, it's gonna go hit the next line down, right? It's gotta go lower. But because enough people with enough money have already front run the idea of this happening, they did it a little too early. Look at this. You guys are early, but I think you might have succeeded with calling the bottom by buying the shit out of this. I think you have it's literally a 50-50 chance, and I'll show you why. Like, you will agree to some degree before I'm done. Just watch. When I first thought, okay, well, it's too far away, and given that the stock market is down, for the first time ever in Bitcoin's 12, 13 year history. Asterisk, it's the first time a down move wasn't met by V-shaped correction back up to all-time highs, right? So it's the first bear market. Then being early, plus it's the first bear market, means it should actually be closer to this line when it bottoms because of the pressure down of the stock market, and Bitcoin and Litecoin trade with SPX and Nasdaq, right? Well, if you start zooming in on how, and we're going to zoom in a second. When you zoom in on how price behaves here, it looks like it will go sideways long enough to hit that next one down, and it's a double bottom. It might actually be more than 50% likely. I don't want to say that though, but I'm just going to stick with it's about 50%. So, for example, let's actually observe how it's moving here. So that's the math behind it. It is establishing, well, it broke its daily uptrend there. So it's in a daily no trend. It's got a higher high but a lower low, which means it's in a no trend. But regardless, it is traversing these origin lines, right? So usually when you see that happening, origin line to origin line, technically the dotted one is an origin line too, but it's less powerful. It's a, what do you call it? It's a, I don't know. I don't even know what a good name, a halfway point or whatever. But so when you do that, you often end up going up with maybe one wick down before you go up. If you can traverse this that long, I mean, you're typically done. So here, before this happened, did it get stuck between an origin line and ride it nicely and uniformly here? No. You had a big bull trap on Bitcoin and it got sent down. It did not go sideways nice and pretty in here the same way. So fake outs actually, help create worse situations. Here, did it traverse between a couple origin lines nice and uniformly? Yes, it did. Where did it go? Up. This is all downtrend, downtrend, downtrend. Here we go. Did it traverse these origin lines nice and uniformly? Yes. Where did it go? Up. Did it have one more spike down? It did. But then what did it do? It went sideways again, uniformly. Where did it go? Up. So what would have to happen in order for this sort of thing to happen? Bitcoin hitting the next origin line down. And where would Litecoin go? Down to the bottom red line. But not for a while, because Bitcoin can't make new lows for at least 2 weeks. It's not going to happen. Well, without something new, knock on wood, I almost said nuclear. Well, that would do it too, but Russia could do it. Without a news-driven price action, it won't happen. But you always got to keep that in mind, that it could. All right, but it's just not probable. So, if Bitcoin's not going to go down for an absolute bare minimum of 2 weeks, I need to zoom in. 4-hour chart. Let's call it 20 days. Get the spike down after 20 days. Where's that? But I mean, it could stop at this origin line here. So it spikes down when Bitcoin heads down. Yeah, that's a 33% move to that origin line. What's the price? Double bottom. This could have already bottomed. Even if it does hit this red one down, like let's say it does it in January and it goes below 40 bucks, is that close enough to call it a double bottom? Within 9%? I don't know if there's a definition of double bottom, and when does the definition break down? Like, what are the parameters of a double bottom? Because clearly it's impossible to be exact. That can't be the definition. What is the definition? Within less than 10%? Okay, well, it's a double bottom. Still a double bottom. It could go a little bit lower, but it's not going to go much more. I think it has a strong chance. Like this, it looks like it's done. However, without people front running the halvening event in the associated time frame when the Litecoin bull market starts, they're front running it. I think created a self-fulfilling prophecy where I think they're going to be right, or they're close. They're very close to solidifying their gamble being correct. Without that happening, let's see. So that was back in June. That's when Bitcoin hit 17.5. So people 6 months ago were front running the idea that Litecoin's bottom was in. They kept it strong enough the entire time. Where did Litecoin go to and bounce the fuck off of? Right off an origin line, obviously, as price almost always does on large caps and small caps. I think Matic's pump did not hit an origin line. So it doesn't always get every single move. But without this big move, let's say it was here right now, okay? So without people having front run it this whole time, Litecoin would be here right now. And that would mean it would very likely hit this one. And that's more than 10%. Below here, therefore, yeah, it's not, that's almost 20%. That's not a double bottom. So this could be a self-fulfilling prophecy for Litecoin fans. And the Litecoin army is pretty big. And that gives a lot of momentum for, or not momentum, their efforts, successful efforts here, alongside the fact that the halving is going to happen, make it so that Litecoin is an extremely strong candidate, if not among the strongest candidates in all of crypto, to be a first mover with Bitcoin when it finally starts rocking and rolling in, I don't know, September 2023, something like that. The weekly 10 finally crossed above the weekly 21, somewhere around there, mid to late 2023. Litecoin would probably fly up, along with the handful of large caps that would move aggressively with Bitcoin at the very beginning of the bull market. It's less than 5% of all cryptos that do that are first movers with Bitcoin. The vast majority wait till Bitcoin breaks a weekly higher high, establishes a higher low, and then starts going up. Then a lot of them go. And so the positive consequences of their gamble could be double. Like it could, honestly, I think this was a good play by them, because I'm pretty sure that this was an orchestrated, not illegal, I'm not saying that, but this is probably an orchestrated effort to keep it up here. But I think their gamble's going to pay off, because not only did they make it so that probably was the bottom, right? Configuring a double bottom within 10%. That counts still, right? As a double bottom. Thus, that was the bottom. Not only did they accomplish that potentially, but they set it up that the coin that they protected and did this, it's going to move first. Which is always the best thing to have, right? Like, do you want your coin to pop off last in a bull market? No, it sucks waiting. While everything else is like green dildos in your face slapping you around. It really sucks. We've all, like most of us have been there, right? You're holding your coin. When is it going to go? When is it going to go? And it never does. And then once it never, you decide, screw it, I'm going to chase other green candles. You sell, and that's when it goes up, right? So that psychology, they just essentially got rid of that. Like, it's probably going to be a first mover. So their gamble was a calculated one, likely a successful one, and it's a double whammy. Like, it's badass. Litecoin Army did a good job. Too bad XRP Army didn't accomplish this. It's not even close to a low. So this might be among the best candidates in all of crypto outside of Quant. Matic's a pretty strong candidate too for having a bottom in. But this is among the best candidates in all of crypto, alongside Quant and Matic, to have already bottomed. And I didn't, and I'm a sometimes a overzealous bear, and I'm saying this. So hopefully I was able to show you in the charts all the logic behind it, rules of how price works with these lines, all that stuff, times and dates, percentages, lengths of time. Litecoin's not a bad bet in this bear market, I'm telling you. It is not a bad bet. All right, I gotta go. I will tell my wife, I will say, hey babe, Brokoshi no dinero, and she'll understand the no dinero part because she's Mexican. I'll say Brokoshi no dinero wants to thank you personally for allowing me to do this. No, she's actually not able to even stand up right now. We had Tanya Harding over for dinner the other day. No, I'm just kidding. If you're under 30, you didn't catch that joke. She had a lumbar extraction similar to an epidural, where they stick a needle in your freaking spine, in your vertebrae, and like look at fluid pressure in there, like checking your tire. So she is off. She can't come and complain. Had she been able to walk and stand up today and yesterday, this probably wouldn't have been happening. But her mom also lives with us, which that sounds bad, and usually it is, but it actually isn't. Her mom cooks a lot, and my wife doesn't like to cook. I married a Mexican woman who doesn't like to cook. My luck, right? Yes, I'm stereotyping. Get over it. It's funny. Chill out. And the only people who aren't offended by that stuff are the Mexicans. Like, oh my God. But anyway, yeah, and whenever my wife might get excited, her mom's there, so that helps, people a lot. And it's actually a healthier scenario with my mother-in-law living with me. It's kind of strange to say, but it's true. So she's got her mom here. I'm surprised she didn't send her mom out to stop me. That would have been a good play on her part. But yeah, but the reason I'm staying on so long on these calls is because we've been waiting so damn long for something to happen. And now the moment's come. I'm not going to waste it, because we're not going to have this type of moment again till near the top. Well, until the weekly 10 crosses above the weekly 21 on Bitcoin. And that's going to be over a year. So I'm trying to milk this as much as I can, help out as many people as I can. And, from a selfish standpoint, maybe help propel myself in the YouTube channel better next bull market by offering this value during a bear market. Similar to how Litecoin is going to propel itself too. But other than that, I got to go. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you next Tuesday at the same time, 6 p.m.